Welcome back, everybody. We're here with another episode of The Spark. I'm your host, Wyatt Frazier. Today's an episode I've been looking forward to for a long, long time. I'm with one of my great friends, Josh Klein, the owner of Peaked Automotive. They do car shows, exclusive car shows, the best in Colorado. We've known each other since we started working at Chick-fil-A. I mean, that was, 2018, right?
2018, man. Yeah, it's been a whirl.
Been a long time. I remember you had I can't remember if you just bought the G37 or if you just bagged it. It was pretty much right around this.
It was right around that time.
You were talking about buying the bags, though, yeah.
It was when I just got the G.
Yeah.
I just got the G. And so we met at the Dublin Commons one.
Yep.
I think you worked there for, 9-10 months, maybe a year. And then you moved on.
No, I think it was even less than that. Because I started in January. I was probably gone by May.
Yeah, dang.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even that long at all.
I started working at Bird Dog, and then I was like, I can make a little bit better money here, like if I'm going to be in a restaurant. So that's kind of where I went. But it was a great time regardless when I was there.
Amazing. Yeah, it was fun. I went there the other day and saw all the people, and it's kind of, cringy going there every once in a while because everybody recognizes you, and you're just like, dude, I just want to get in and get out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You don't really want to have to do all that. So
100%. Hold on, I want to check something.
For sure.
Got to turn on airplane mode just because I would hate to get an hour into this or whatever. Get a call, that would suck.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure.
I forgot to do that. But, yeah, man, I just kind of want to get started for, everybody listening. I was thinking we could, you host car events now. You've been big in a car culture, like we were just talking about. You had the G37, you bagged it. Where'd you get started in cars? What was your first car?
Gotcha. So I was always into transportation ever since growing up. So my first thing was trains. I loved trains. When I was young, Thomas the Tank Engine was
so
my
not
show.
Just cars.
Yeah, so it was a big show.
Cool.
But Dad was a pilot, and so then I got into planes a little bit, later on. Probably maybe about 7 to 10 years old, I was really big into planes. And then after that, I really got into cars. It's more achievable to own a car than it is to own, a Gulfstream jet. So I figured, cars would be a little bit cooler. And then I got big into the exotics. So started getting into car spotting. I flew different, Los Angeles to Denver, or not to Denver, drove to Denver, all around the country, to go to different car events and be able to check out the rarest cars, the Paganis, the Bugattis, the Koenigseggs. That was always had my attention. So when I became 16, I was like, what? I can't afford a Pagani right now. I'm 16 years old. So what's the next best thing? And so that got me into the whole tuner car scene. I grew into that, and, right now we've grown it into a, pretty big business with, car events and everything like that. So I've owned about 13 cars. I'm 22 years old, and I've owned a decent amount of cars. And
13? Because I know of a handful of them.
Yeah.
I remember a handful of them, but what does that list look like? I'm curious.
It'd be hard to say it all out, try to think of it, but I had a Audi A4, a Lexus LS400, a Toyota T100 truck, EG Civic hatch, CRV, G37, Q60, E36. Yeah, and I'm blanking on some more. I mean, but there's some more, know. And I've had a bunch of fun cars. I've enjoyed it. It's always such a learning experience. That's the thing I love about cars. Is you can never master building a car. You can never master doing the best work possible. It's kind of art, in my opinion. When somebody builds 100%. A car, it's an expression of themselves on wheels. And so that's something that I've always liked is, your style of building a vehicle represents yourself. And so for me, I've always recently I've been more minimalistic with the cars and in the builds, bags, wheels, cleaning it up, make sure the paint's perfect, just kind of an OEM plus build. I used to be one of those big clout chasers with, the big camber and the whole works. But, fun stuff, it definitely gets attention on the internet. It's great to grow a brand. It's something that I definitely recommend people. If you want to get a name out there, definitely do something out of the ordinary. Right. Whether that's building a crazy camber car or doing something insane. I mean, it's just doing something different. I think it's the biggest key for me and how to be successful is do something different than other people, because everybody does the same old. And, being into cars, I wanted to do something different than other people haven't done. That's why I bought the G37, because not a lot of people had those in Colorado. So I bought the Q60 because not a lot of people have those in Colorado. So it's just something different to stand out, to put yourself difference between other people. So,
right, 100%. That's how I always felt about the Eclipse. I mean, the Eclipse, that's one reason why it's been so hard to let go of. I mean, for those that know me personally, that car's been such a fucking heartbreaker, but it's taught me so much at the same time. And I honestly give it credit, I think, across my lifespan story. It gets a lot of credit for who I am. And I think for how I'll be able to continue to attack life is from all the life lessons it's taught me, not just about cars, but, about there's something about being stuck on the side of the road because your alternator goes out or something like that, or
you build a relationship with the car,
or and testing out fitments on coilovers and like all those things, and you really get attached to it personally. And then like you were saying, it's unique. Like everybody kind of knows the Eclipse, the 99 2G Eclipse, just from like the Fast and the Furious and everything. But I realized there's like not that many here in the Springs. Yeah. Actually, there's far fewer that drive. I've found a lot of them in like lots and stuff, but there's very few that are well kept. And mine's not perfect, but I always took some pride in that I was like, all right, at least I like driving something unique. And
most definitely.
I don't think I could ever drive something stock, like a fully stock car. I wouldn't be satisfied in that.
Exactly.
I need something, man. Some wheels, maybe some lowering springs or whatever.
Just something, man, to separate yourself. And I think that's the biggest thing is like you need to like separate yourself. You know, if you want to have a presence or you want to grow something, I feel like you just need to be different, separate yourself from the normal people. Like I had the Q60 stock for like a year and I was like, dog, this is not it, you know, like this is not it. And so then I was like, you know what, I'm just going to bag it. Like I'm just going to say, you know, to hell with it and just bag the car. Cause why not, you know?
Right. And it looks great.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, Thank you. Yeah. You know, and that was a pain installing it all, but you know, it's done now. And
really,
so it's
awesome. What was that like going from like, I imagine it's not too much different, but going from like, you know, putting bags on a E36 or like a G37 to a Q50 that, you know, like that, you know, it's much newer. It's a more technologically advanced car. Was it much harder to do that?
Dude, so the Infinity suspension is pretty much the same from the G37 to the Q60. I bagged my G37. So like for me, it was just kind of like copy paste. The biggest problem with bags is wiring the electronics, is doing the whole electronic system. It's you know, sometimes it gets a little frustrating. You have to run wires all the way through, you know, the vehicle up to the front of the battery, make sure it's perfect, make sure your fuses are good, everything like that. But then installing the actual bags are just like doing coilovers, you know, so it's pretty simplistic, pretty easy, but you know, it's something that I love learning. I love a challenge. And so why would I pay a shop $1,000 to do it if I can like gain the knowledge and information on that product?
100%.
Why would I not do that? You know? And so for me, like I took 3 days off of work and knocked it all out in 3 days. Yeah, man. Nice. I had some complications with it. Definitely ran into some, you know, issues, but the thing is you just got to get past it. Just work past it. So, yeah.
That's where I am with the TL that I just recently got. You know, I'd like to, I'm debating it because, you know, part of me wants to just have it as like a super reliable daily car. So like, I don't know if bags,
that, man.
Right. Well, exactly. So I'm like, man, are bags really the route? But I've always wanted it, and I feel like it's a car that's worthy of them. Just like it'd be a cool look to have it just aired out in lots. And
one of my dream cars growing up was a 3rd gen TL Type S.
Really
loved them, man. Like they're just so timeless. You know, it's just such a design that's just timeless. You see them on the road and you see them modified. They look great to this day. They haven't dated.
No, they haven't. The interiors too. Like I hopped in, I was like, this is an 07? I was like, wow, I couldn't imagine. Like I've been in other cars from that era. I'm like, this, really ahead of its time. I feel like
most definitely and reliable. Like you're saying. I mean, a Honda.
You can't get past that. So I mean, we'll see. We'll see what I end up doing. I have wheels that I've kind of spotted that I think I'm gonna throw it on. So we'll go from there. It's already on coils, so maybe I'll just stay with that. But it's all about enjoying your car. I've realized like that's one thing that I've really shifted my focus onto is like the Acura is like, okay, bags would be sweet, but I really want to be able to enjoy it and not have a bunch of like headache with it. So like with the Eclipse, it was constantly like I'd be able to rip it for a day or two, or like, you know, maybe not a day or two, a month or two, but then there's like constantly shit popping up, especially since it's a 99. So it's just walking that balance of being able to enjoy your car, but also kind of, you know, what's its purpose?
Most definitely.
Like Adam LZ is somebody that I watch in the car culture like scene that has taught me that a lot. And he's like, I build every car for a purpose. You know, a lot of people on YouTube will chop it up and put a body kit on it, but then its functionality's gone. It's like, well, if you can take a platform and really like build to what it was originally designed for, that's when you get the most out of it. And so trying to apply that to it a little bit more for sure, but
most definitely. But you know, you also got to look at the other side of the sword as well. These people that are chopping up these cars doing this, I mean, solely for clout, but you know, they're able to then grow essentially their influence, you know, and grow their following. Like for example, TJ Hunt.
Yeah.
He's building these crazy cars, and like, would I ever do a GT3 wide body on a G82 M4? No, but like his viewers, like that's what they want.
Yeah,
you know?
That's true.
And so it's like, I can understand where they're coming from. I agree completely with you. Build a car for a purpose. Have it, you know, have a fun car. Have something that you enjoy. But like the other side, like if you're doing that for a business perspective, if you're doing that for, you know, your brand, I get it, man.
I do get that. I will say that I'm not oblivious to why someone like TJ Hunt does those kind of things.
Sure. Like Whistling Diesel as well.
Exactly. Exactly, man. And it is wildly enjoyable. I've been watching those guys for years. So.
Marketing's genius.
It is.
It's so smart.
It is. And then you do
take this Ferrari and just destroy it.
Yeah, do what most people would not even dare.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people just let them sit. That's another point where I'm like, when I get to the point where I'm owning Ferraris, I'll be ripping them.
I would too. My brother and I had that conversation
yesterday.
We were watching a video and there was a McLaren P1 on the side of, in LA. And my brother was like, man, you never see those cars out. I was like, yeah, you never do. And I was like, man, if I had a P1, I'd drive it all the time.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I'm like, why wouldn't you? You spent $2 million on this car. Like, I'd be ripping it everywhere, man.
Yeah.
That's going to take time to get there, but it's people see those cars and think that it's unfeasible. I mean, you can get there. It's just going to take time and money for sure.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, what are you willing to put that money into? Because I think a lot of people who are able to buy P1s just don't value cars enough. So like, I feel like you'd see a lot more P1s if there's more people in that position that valued cars, right? You know what I mean? Like they'd rather put that money elsewhere, which is, all power to them. But I've always seen that in the future, like I'll have, I want like a small house, like 20-car garage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I see. Like a barnuminium. Oh, dude, I'd love
That'd be sweet.
That's what I really want, like a barnuminium.
You know what I've been seeing, man? That's been like, like I was saying earlier, I've been in exotics for a very long time. And like, that's my true passion is I love exotic cars. I love them. They're fantastic. But what I've been seeing now, man, since this whole, everybody's freaking out about this whole recession is that so many people have been buying these collector cars, these P1s, LaFerraris, these Enzos, these crazy cars, but they're not car enthusiasts. They're buying them as assets, because think about it, you can liquefy them, but you can liquefy them in any currency. Like, people are concerned about the US dollar. If the US loses the petrodollar, then there's going to be definitely the US dollar is going to go down in value for sure.
Right.
And something that I've been seeing is people have been buying these cars, collectors out. And the big one that's been really happening is collectors in China have been buying these super rare cars. That's where a lot of the money's coming from now. And think about it, you can liquefy that car anywhere.
That's
you can
true.
sell it in any currency.
That's a great point.
And they're just going up in value. And so people don't see it as that. But like for me personally, like that's a business I would love to get into would be exotic cars and, getting into the exotic car marketplace because I see them as like enjoyable vehicles to drive, but they're 100% investments.
100%.
They're 1,000% investments. I
Right.
mean, you can buy a Ferrari Enzo or a Porsche Carrera GT is a great example. 6 years ago, buy one for $400,000. Now they're 1.4, 1.5 million. 5 years. I mean, like think about it. Like you have just like
that's more than houses. Yeah, it's more than houses. That's wild.
So like that's for me is what's been blowing my mind, man, is like that's where the money's at. Like that's where people are, it's because it bothers me because people don't drive those cars. They're using them as collectors. They're using them as assets. And so they just sit, you never see them driven. I mean, I've seen the most Bugattis and McLaren Speedtails and the P1s I've been in showrooms. I've never seen them driving. You never will because they just go into someone's garage, delivery miles, 10 years, they sell it for 2x profit. It's so frustrating, man. It's like
it makes sense. Like again, I understand it. I'm not clueless as to why people don't drive those cars as well because I understand. Yeah, you put miles on them, they depreciate. And a lot of those guys that are looking at that are looking at it as to hold cash. And they like looking at them. It's kind of a flexy way to hold your cash.
Absolutely,
100%.
You walk in the Barnuminium and you got 20 hyper cars. You'd be like, cool, man, I made it. like I'd be in that garage every day. I'd be like, this is awesome.
Literally. Wouldn't even need TV. Just be looking at those. It'd be great.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing is like the goal is like there's a couple people that I look up to. John Tremarian, he's out in Miami. He owns Curated, which is, a kind of a classic late 80s, early 90s exotic car showroom, essentially, where he, gets super rare vehicles, Diablo GTs, Ferrari F50s, Ferrari F40s, just crazy cars, Countach's Diablos, and that's all he does is he just finds them, and he's a broker, essentially. I'm like, that is so cool. Like,
that is
being able to
really
track
sweet.
the history of all these cars and be able to figure out where they come from, who's the previous owner, where have they been,
right?
And being a broker for them, but just for me, I mean, the people you would meet, the connections 100%. Being a broker and meeting these people that are willing to shell out $4 to $5 million for one car. I mean, that's just crazy.
Yeah, no, that's putting yourself in a marketplace of pretty unique people. Like you said,
definitely.
the connections you'd make from that would be wild. That's just also, that would be really cool work. You know what I mean? To be able to track that down, that history on collector cars like that. And
fly to Monaco, look at the car, make sure it's perfect, get it, then shit flown over into like Miami.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. No, that would be, I mean, is that kind of what you'd look at as selling exotic cars, or more so continuing what you're doing with Peaked into the shape of like, you know, just involving more and more people that have cars like that, you know, and then see where it goes from there?
You know, we've talked about it. I've been talking with Patrick, which is, you know, my business partner, and I've been talking with him, and I've just been mentioning, you know, we need to get into the exotic space. There, you know, we have a lot of people that we know that own exotic cars, and, you know, the tuner car people and the exotic car people, they don't mix.
Right, and that's kind of what my thought was, is because it's kind of hard to mix the two.
Almost definitely.
When you have, like, you know, it's just slightly different brackets. Not to, like, put that in a weird way, but, like, it kind of,
you're completely right. I mean, it's two completely separate people.
Yeah.
You know, you have your tuner car guys, your tuner car people are, you know, they're great people. They're awesome. They're super fun to deal with, but they're a lot more immature of an audience, genuinely, right. You know, right. And I'm not trying to sound, you know, say that in a disrespectful manner, but they are a little bit more immature. Your exotic car owners are the people that are really hardworking. They've worked towards it, or, you know, they could have just been born with a silver spoon in their mouth. You know, right. I met a couple people. I met a dude with an F1 one time, and he's like, just be born with a silver spoon in your mouth. I'm like, cool, man.
Yeah.
Great advice, man.
Thanks,
I really
bro.
appreciate
that really
it.
helps.
Exactly. Now I know what I want to do. But it's just so, that was ridiculous.
Right.
But I want to get into the exotic space. I really want to do an exotic car show, an exotic car rally, something regarding that. And I think that's what I'm really going to step into next year. And I wanted to form a separate company to focus primarily on the exotic cars, because I don't know if I really want Peak to have different categories and different entities of this.
Well, that would put weird divisions in it. I understand that, because then it would, you know, keeping the Peaked brand, like, okay, we know Peaked associated to one group or one car culture scene, right? Sure. That makes a lot more sense than maybe trying to break it up. I see that from a linear perspective.
Dude, I don't know if you saw, we did that Gulfstream shoot a little while ago.
That was sweet. Yeah. I was like, wow, good for you guys.
That was incredible. And just the people, you know, 3 twin turbo R8s, 2 SF90s, GT3 RS, you know, just some really cool supercars, and, you know, a Gulfstream in the background as well. And it's just cool doing events like that, talking to the people that own those cars, seeing how they got there, seeing how they achieved it. You know, that was a super fun experience. But those are the kind of events that I want to do. Is like, we're talking about our Cars and Connections event, where, you know, we go up to the Centennial hangar, you know, where that Gulfstream's at. He has a couple planes, and, you know, go over there, bring some really cool exotic cars, and you just kind of have, you know, a connections event. You bring your cool cars, you know, we meet, you network.
Yeah, like a Cars and Coffee.
Exactly, but a little bit of a higher end clientele.
Right.
Because I think a lot of the big car people, like we were previously talking about, like the people that use them as assets, they don't really want to take their car out to car shows. Why would you? I mean, you have 13, 14, 15-year-old kids, you know, filming with their iPhones, freaking out, filming TikToks and everything, you know? Like, I really wouldn't want to do that. That's not what I would be trying to do with my...
A lot of them are low-key, and so it's like they're not really into going into huge crowds for attention. I mean, absolutely. Yeah. But you get a collective group of 20 people or less, then that makes,
exactly. Big cool network. Area. I mean, we had a dude hit us up, you know, with an SF90 Spider, $1 million car. It's like, hey, do you want us to bring your car or my car to the Hangar Hangs event? And it's like, yeah, absolutely. But, you know, I'm still going to make you pay registration. Like, you don't want a $1 million car. Like, you can afford, you know, $60 or something like that. You know, it's kind of funny. But, you know, this guy's a low key guy.
Yeah.
You know, 150 followers on Instagram, private page, super low key.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can tell the dude is very successsul, you know, by his mannerisms, by the way he dresses and everything like that. But super fun guy, super nice guy, younger guy too. I mean, so who knows?
How old would you say? Do you think he is? Early
to mid 30s.
Okay.
So I mean, younger guy. I mean, $1 million car in 30s is doing pretty well for yourself. But that's something that, you know, you look up to and, you know, you inspire to be. I want to get to that point. My big goal would probably run Peak 5-6 years, sell the company.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what, you know, I love Peak. I love the events that we're doing. I think it's super fun. It's honestly enjoyable to plan these and get things done. But I don't know, getting into commercial real estate would be kind of like my end goal, or getting into the exotic car broker market.
Right. Something that's a little higher ticket. Right.
Yeah.
Because, you know, planning events and everything, that's a lot of smaller details that you have to pay attention to. Maybe less return on each one of those actions. But yeah, no, that would be, and I think you'll get it there to the point where, you know, I have no doubt in that with the trajectory you guys are on, just from when you started in 2020 to where you are now. It's been awesome to see. Like, you know, I thought one of the greatest plays I had to give credit to was using the Sky Sox Stadium. Or the Vibe Stadium. You know what I mean? After I saw that, I was like, dude, that's great, because The Sky Sox moved out. Their events are going down. Like, I went to a baseball game last season. There was, like, nobody there. Yeah. And I was like, okay, this makes sense on that just didn't seem like something they'd even do. Like, it was even possible. Yeah. And kind of, like, what sparked the idea in your head to even ask that? Like, what was it?
Yeah, so, I mean, so the funniest story about this, and this is actually a really funny story on how that, became a thing. So, I did not want to do an event after 21. We did our first event in Woodland Park in 21. And I was like, you know what? I'm working so much. I had 2 jobs at the time. I was like, I don't have the time to plan an event. I don't have the time. And then Patrick came up to me. He's like, we got to do something for this year, for 22. We got to do something for this year. We got to do something. I was like, dude, you know what? You take the whole company. I don't even want to do it. And so I went home that night and I was thinking about it. I was like, I can't give it away, man. Like, I worked to get to this point. Like, I built the company. I got it to where it was, did the first event. And, we had pretty good success for our first event. And so in 2022, we got together, Patrick and I got together after, having that conversation. And I was like, we got to do something. We got to do something. We got to do something. And we both said, why not do the Vibe Stadium? Why not do the Vibe Stadium? So we had everything set for June to knock out the Vibe Stadium. And we get a message a month before our event being like, you cannot use this space. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. Because like everything was set up. Like we have the invoices. They haven't been paid, but we had the invoices sent to us. We had our signature on them. We signed the invoices, sent them back, and they didn't accept it. And so I was a little frustrated about the whole thing. I was like, oh my gosh, we have a month and a half. We got to plan something quick. Yeah. We got to do something quick. So then we go to UCCS and we ask them, hey, can we use their space? And she's like, Shannon, who was the person over there, she's like, absolutely, most definitely use the space. And so I was like, okay, fantastic. We can piece something together real quick. In a month and a half, we can get this ball rolling. And so in a month and a half, we start promoting, start marketing the whole event and everything like that. And we had a pretty good turnout for the June one. It wasn't my favorite show. I genuinely did not like that show at all. And then after the June show, Patrick and I were like, wow, we had great success. We should do a closer. So we go back to the ballpark and we're like, hey, can we do this? And we get the green light. They were like, yeah.
What changed between your first attempt and second?
The first attempt, there is a company here in town that I'm gonna keep them nameless.
Yeah, yeah.
That had an event the next day that didn't let us utilize the space. Yes, and which in my opinion is ridiculous because it has nothing to do with what we were doing.
Right.
And it's a company that I personally have used multiple times for stuff on my vehicle. And so I sent my parents to them to get stuff done on my vehicle or to their vehicle. And so I was like, wow, it really left a bad taste in my mouth. And I'm not a fan of that specific business, to be honest with you, just because, why would you do that? Right. You're gaining nothing from that. You just want to see somebody fail, So I was like, you know what? Okay, whatever. Cool. We got to piece something together. But when we came back, they were like, absolutely, you can utilize the space, do a deposit. And so the second that they said yes, we brought over a check that day. We're like, here's the money, take it. So now, since they have the money, they have to follow through with what they're going to do.
Right.
We have a signed contract. We have the money. There's no way that this can fall under the cracks. And so we had a month and a half to promote it, and we got a great turnout in a month and a half. And that's what I'm really excited for about this year, because we've been able to promote this event for 6-7 months. Every event that we've done prior has been a month and a half. And so that to me is we've been able to piece something together so quick for all of these events. And we're doing 3 this year, and they're just getting bigger and bigger and bigger throughout the year.
Yeah. So. And it's the Hangar Hang, Estes Park, and then back at the ballpark.
Yeah, back at the ballpark.
Part
a couple,
2.
maybe 2 more at the end of the year. We're thinking about going to New Mexico and Texas.
That would be sweet.
Yeah, we're thinking about moving out there. We just got to, figure out a date and time that works best for us. But, we're looking forward to it, man. The Estes Park, we got some fire vendors coming out to that. We got some great people we're going to, meeting up with on that one. Great success already on launching tickets for that one. And then the ballpark or the Hangar Hangs, essentially we're sold out. I'm still going to let some more cars in, but 200 registrations. I honestly only wanted to do 180, but sold out of that one. Tickets have been going great on that event. It's just such a cool space.
Yeah. No, it looks great. You get the traditional airplane hangars, you get the tarmac. How much of it are you really getting to use?
The whole exploration of flight, which is a huge, and you'll see, which is a huge, essentially taxiway. So a huge taxiway right there, and then their hangar and everything. We're able to utilize the whole space. People don't understand, though, how expensive these events cost to put on.
I imagine. Are you able to go into it a little bit? Do you mind? I'm
curious. Yeah, for sure.
Event running seems like something that would almost be charity, right? A lot of people think that's almost like a charity thing, but really, like talking to you a little bit about it here and there, it seems like a pretty solid business strategy.
Yeah, no, most definitely. You know, starting off 2021, our first event, it was free to utilize the space. Didn't pay anything. So all the money that we charged per car, all the money that we charged per general admission ticket was straight essentially profit. Beside, some other things. You got to buy canopies, you got to buy walkie-talkies, we got to buy tickets, got to buy merch, all that stuff like that. So, you and then you can write that all off, which is great. And so essentially it's all profit at the end. Then 2022, our first event at the UCCS, that was about $3,000 to rent that space for the day. And so nothing crazy, but then you got to think about it as well. We had to rent speakers. There's $800. You had to rent porta potties. There's $1,000, so essentially you're already at $5,000 right there.
Right.
Ballpark. I don't want to say a number just because, we're still utilizing that space. But it's in the, between $5,000 and $10,000, somewhere in that space. All said and done after everything.
Right.
And then the hangar hang is $10,000 plus just to rent that space and be able to do that. But, you got to look into it in the fact of like, okay, so I'm spending, let's just say somewhere, a little over $10,000 for the hangar just to rent the venue. And that includes security, that includes parking attendants, that includes the whole event space. That includes pretty much everything. So that's great. You already have staff essentially working that. You got to buy your tents. And so we're talking $1,000 for, a 10 by 10, $1,500 for a 10 by 20. You got to buy your speakers. We just bought brand new speakers. And so those, cause instead of renting them, we just bought them. So that's $1,500 essentially right there. And then we have to get catered in food for our VIP tickets. There's another $1,000. And so you can get up, probably will be north of about $20,000 for the whole Hangar Hangs event. But you got to spend money to make money, and as far as going to profit, I'm leaning towards 80 to 100 grand, off of the event, all said and done. Profit wise, probably 60, 70,000.
It's pretty solid.
Is what I'm wanting,
Right.
We started off our ticketing pretty low when we first started doing events. And then, we brought Sebastian on the team and Patrick and I, we were just like, let's just raise it. Let's just keep going higher and higher on as far as the amount of money people are spending on tickets. And so we're now up to, $100 for elite registration, $125 for the ballpark. But, you got to think about it. People are getting value out of that.
Right.
There's a value there. When people feel special, they want to spend more money. And when you can make things, people feel exclusive, when you can bring an exclusive event and make people feel like, they're a VIP or that they're very important, they want to spend that money.
They do, yeah.
And so that's kind of a strategy that I go with is like, what can we do to make somebody feel special that they'll want to shell out the cash? Well,
and looking at it like, for example, if I took, because I know a lot of the stories for people's cars that they build are a lot like mine with the Eclipse, where if I took 3 years or 2 years or even just a year to build out a car and I put 5, 6, 7, 10 grand into it, even more, and then an event pops up, it's like, what's $125 to show off all that hard work?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's not that unfairly, like that makes sense. There's like the value there.
Yeah, no, I don't think I genuinely would pay that. I'm looking from the perspective of myself. Like, you are parking in a venue. First off, that the event company has to spend, like I said, $10,000 to be able to use this venue. Like $125 isn't crazy.
No, it's not.
That's not crazy at all. And you get to park in super cool venues. You get to show off your car. You get to have a lot of automotive enthusiasts from around the whole country come in and check out your vehicles and and see it. So you get essentially media from the event as well. People be taking photos, videos, everything like that. So you get content out of the event for your vehicle as well. You get to meet people. You can network at these events. There's just a lot of benefit from coming to these events and being able to go there. And I think that's something that I'm really looking forward to is, meeting the new people, meeting faces. It's funny. I've been in Colorado Springs car scene, the Colorado car scene for so long that sometimes it's kind of annoying going to car meets and car shows and stuff like that because you've been here for so long, you start knowing a lot of people. And you just conversation here, and it's fun, but it's like, I just want to look at the cars, man. I'm here to film content for Peaked or here to do that. But it's been fun, man. I love doing it. It's a blast. I never thought it was going to get to the point where we're doing like 3, 4, 5 events a year. I've always kind of thought of it like, what if we just do one event a year?
Yeah.
But, it's just grown and grown and grown. The support's been pretty unreal as well. We're launching ads on Instagram and Facebook. We're growing that. We're scaling the social medias. I'm really going to put a lot of emphasis on growing the social medias this year.
Yeah.
I'm getting the 10, 15, 20,000 followers. I really want to branch into out-of-state events as well. I want to go to as many car events as possible to promote, meet people, network as well. That's a big thing as well, as I know a lot of the big car people as well. I'm actually going out to San Jose for Week Fest.
Don't you know the owner? Is it Low Class that you know?
Yeah,
you know the owner of Low Class?
Diego.
Yeah, that's a good connection to have.
Dude, that is so out of the blue, man.
Yeah.
He came to our first event. So,
really?
Yeah, so
that's
our
awesome.
first event. So we've been pretty close. The Peaked and Low Class. We've had a really good running relationship. We were supposed to go down to New Mexico in I want to say April or March of this year. But we were unable to make it just to do some transportation issues with one of the people's vehicles we're going to take down there. So it's unfortunate, but we'll definitely be out to his Denver event. I really want to go out to the Utah events as well, kind of grow there. But there's definitely something that's been really frustrating for me, and like something that you got to kind of overcome is like just people that gatekeep in this industry. Is that there's a lot of gatekeepers. There's a lot of people that get into this event space and they find out what's successful for them. And there's a couple here in Colorado that, they want to gatekeep. They want to keep things a secret. They don't want to let people know on what they're doing to be successful. But, I've reached out to a couple, some pretty big auto shows out here and also out in Utah. And they're just very quiet, man. They don't want to tell you how they do it. And,
really?
Yeah, most definitely. There's a couple here that you reach out to, you want to be, hey man, I got a couple questions for you. Red. You're just like, whoa, man.
Wow. Come on, guys.
Exactly.
I win, you win.
Exactly. And that's how it is, man, for me. Is like, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
Right.
We can help out. There's enough pieces of the pie for everybody. And I always tell people that too, is like, if you want to do an automotive event, there's enough pieces of the pie for everybody to enjoy it. But the biggest thing that I've been coming to see lately is that everybody's doing the same thing. Everybody's doing the same thing every single year. Same venue, same cars, same. It's the same. It's copy and paste. Why would you spend $100 on a ticket to do the exact same thing you did last year?
Right.
What do you get out of that?
Right.
You get nothing. There's no benefit from that.
What would you say, on that note, because I feel like a lot of people listening might be like, well, yeah, between you and Low Class Mafia and X, Y, and Z, what's the difference between all these guys that are hosting events? Like, how would you say you stand out with Peaked? Like, what has kind of been one of your goals of, like, this is the stamp on the car culture?
Venues.
Like,
Venues. We find venues that nobody's utilized and utilize them, and everybody does the same thing. Mm-hmm. Everybody runs the same venues. I'm not going to say names because that, would put animosity on other groups, but there's a lot of car groups here in town. Like I'll put a venue name, PPIR. Yeah. It's 5 shows this year at PPIR.
Yeah.
Why would I go to all 5 of them?
Yeah.
Great
point.
I'm saying?
Great
point. You got to pick the best one, and then you got to think about what's the best one, what's the most beneficial for you. Yeah. You got to pick that, and you got to be able to go there. But why would I go to PPIR 5 times for the same thing? Drifting, hot laps, and a car show.
Yeah.
Grid Life did it best, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Grid Life did it 100 times best, but they're not coming back this year. So, that's the thing is so with Peaked, we want to focus on quality events or quality cars. That's number one. Mm-hmm. So we're very selective on the vehicles that can show up at our events. So, we're not going to let every random car come in. That's something that's been a really big controversy in the car community is all these events people come to, the owners want to make as much money as possible. So they're going to allow any cars they want to in the event. You think about it, you see a car, there's $60. There's $100. There's $60. There's $100.
Right.
You can look at it that way, but when somebody comes to your event, they're going to go, dude, why is there like 12 stock cars here?
Right.
Like you can tell the person just is down bad and needs the money. For us, we're just like, you know what? No, you're not coming in.
It has to be something unique.
Yeah.
Something worth putting on display, right?
Yeah, most definitely. You got to be able to show what your hard work. You got to be able to see what the vehicles, what's been done to it, to be able to display it at the event. So that's one of the big things that we did is we want to make sure that we focus on the quality of the vehicles that attend our events. We're very selective on those vehicles. And then we also focus on venues, having really unique venues. And so I think with that recipe of, unique vehicles and unique venues, it delivers an experience that isn't like any other car event in Colorado.
Right.
And so that's why I think that we've been successful with our events, because it's hard to start off as an automotive event. We don't do cars and coffees. We don't do weekly meets at night. We don't do that. We just do our main events, but we have a presence. People respect us, and we've been able to grow from there. So it's been fun, man. And, it's a lot of work. it's definitely a lot of work to be able to think about all that stuff. And marketing is huge, man. That's the biggest thing for us. Is I've come to figure out social media. I mean, that's the biggest tool in our generation, man. Is you can start a business online and be successful in the matter of months.
Exactly.
People don't understand that. It's like people view social media as, oh, well, it's destroying people's minds on how things work. No, you're not using it for what it's supposed to be.
Right. It's all about how you use it.
Yeah.
If you're it's destroying the minds of people that are sitting there scrolling endlessly for hours, right?
Yeah, YouTube Shorts and they're
just fucking drooling on themselves, right?
Exactly.
But if you look at it from an entrepreneurial standpoint or a business owner, if you're not on social media, if you're not utilizing that attention, then why, you're shooting yourself in the foot, really. 10 years ago when it came to Facebook ads, it was, there were a lot of businesses that thought it was dumb or wasn't needed. And, well, they fell behind of all the companies that jumped on the edge and took advantage of that attention. So, it's that next frontier of it's even easier now to get into, like with this podcast idea, 10 years ago, it would have been exponentially harder for me to try and get this off the ground if it wasn't for the organic reach of social media. Mm-hmm. It's encouraging. And like you said, I think no matter what you're doing, you need to have some sort of knowledge on marketing yourself or somebody that's working with you that does. Most definitely. Like you could be a plumber and you should be on social media, in my opinion.
You should be on social media no matter what.
Right.
The reach is insane. For the fact that I post something and it reaches somebody in a foreign country.
Right.
What other tool are you going to utilize to be able to have that impact? Like that, and that's the biggest thing that people don't understand is like, for example, you see all these people online. I'm sure you follow a lot of, entrepreneurial like pages and everything like that. And you see all these people, how I made $100,000 a month at drop shipping and stuff like that. Like you got to think about it. They're there to sell you a course.
Right. 100%. And then they're flashing the lifestyle thinking it's from FBA or whatever it is. Exactly. But it's really from selling you on how to do FBA.
It's crazy, man. And the fact is that you can do stuff like that. Like I'll be honest with you. I've been getting, I've been getting into the drop shipping.
Yeah.
Drop shipping style a little bit, with some products and stuff like that. And I'll go more into depth with, some of the products that we run for Peaked. And, it's crazy what you can get in foreign countries for the price that you can. And I have a shout out all the Alibaba people. Shout out them because they're amazing. I love them. They're a great source of income, but absolutely love it, man. Absolutely love it. But it was funny. I'll get onto that. It was the Chinese holiday for about, I want to say like 5 days. They got back from holiday today. The people, the employees that I'm working with over on Alibaba, they got back on from their holiday. And it's funny. I've genuinely built relationships with these people.
Really?
Like, oh, how's your day going? First thing in the morning, they'll message me on WhatsApp or on Alibaba. Hey, Joshua, how are you? Oh, great, Alice, how are you? You build a relationship with these people. But that's the thing is, with the use of social media, I can find a product that I want to sell. I'm not a big fan of the whole drop shipping, like ship it from China to your house. I think that's, when something shows up and it has, like the packaging, people automatically associate foreign goods with not as good as quality as goods, if they were shipped locally. It's kind of, it's all, how you perceive things, and how the brain works. But no, you can hop on social media, you can find a product, you can blast an ad campaign for it, and you can make $10,000, $20,000. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, man. Yeah. Like I have buddies. I was talking with one of my good buddies. He owns a big car brand, and I was talking with him. I was like, "Hey, man, so like, what's their cost per good, and how much do you make?" And we were just talking. He's like, "Well, if I do this whole marketing campaign and strategy, I can make $50,000 to $60,000 a drop. But if I don't do that, and if I just like a week before the drop post it, it's $10,000 to $20,000." So it's like, you gotta put the money into it to make the money. That's something that I've come to realize as well. And getting into business is you got to spend money. Yeah. You just got to shell it out, man. Yeah. And it sucks because you look at something and you're like, I'm going to take this risk. I'm going to drop 10 grand in here and it could work or it could not. But that's the biggest thing, man, that I've been coming to realize is like, it's been, you got to spend money to make money. And because like everybody wants to find the easy routes of life, but it's crazy, man. With Peaked, I've spent $10,000 to $15,000 on the Hanger Hang event so far, and as far as profit goes, we just broke even.
Nice.
You know, but it's like, it's like,
it'll get there. You gotta know that it's gonna take that investment. You gotta invest in yourself. You know, everybody says that, like you said, you gotta spend money to make money, but it's about spending money on I think investing in yourself and your ideas and having enough faith in them to put your dollar down on them. Really, you know what I mean? Like, do you think your hand's good enough? That's the thing, dude. You just gotta work, man. Like, working for yourself is the coolest thing in the world too, because like you control how successful you are gonna be. Like 100%. Sometimes you wake up in the morning, you're just like, dude, I don't want to do that, and that's okay. But that's okay. I mean, that's just, you know, people. So many people like right now with this like hustle mindset and everything is like, oh, if you don't work 24/7, you're a nobody. Yeah, you're a brokey. Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? It's like, dude, like I'm not gonna be at like 1 o'clock in the morning, like, oh, I gotta get this done. I gotta get like, dude, I gotta have a life. I gotta get like how how to be successful. You gotta have a good sleep pattern as well. You can't just be working 24/7. But so many people I see, man, so many younger people are on social media. This is the downside of social media. I know we were just talking about the positives, but the downside is so many people want to emulate what they see on social media. And they think what they see is true. They think that the guy that's flashing, these courses on drop shipping, that this dude's driving that Bugatti every day in Dubai with, this absolutely gorgeous, girlfriend of his with the Audemars Piguet on, dude, it's fake, man. Like it's not hard for me to go on a Turo, rent a Lamborghini, me to go buy a fake Rolex watch, put it on my wrist, and rent a suit. Yeah, exactly. It's not hard to find a girl and be like, "Here's $50 to sit with me for an hour." Like that's not hard. No, it's not. And it's super possible, and that's why you got to use intuition. Like you said, you got to be able to kind of read between the lines on that. You got to be able to read people, man. Right. My last job working in a car dealership and like working in like a luxury dealership, like that's the coolest thing I loved. Is that I can read somebody like a book when they come in the door. Instantly, like right off the bat if they're serious or not. Really? Like it's just like you can instantly tell the body language they come in presenting, how they feel. I mean, you can just read it, man. And that's the biggest thing is that so many people are trying to live this lifestyle that they don't have. Like it's crazy, man. But now social media, so many people are just seeing this stuff online and they want to believe it, right? And but it's not true. Right? It's crazy, man. It's crazy, and so. With that being said, I mean, it's not hard to do it, man. And if you wanted to make the money that way, I was watching a YouTube short the other day. I'm mindlessly scrolling through a YouTube short, but they had some dude showing this is an unethical way to make money. Rent the Lamborghini or do this, do that. Sell a drop shipping course. It's it's crazy, man. You absolutely can, and a lot of people are. I believe, like, I hold enough morals and, like, ethics to it that I want to have it last. Like that's not going to last. And same thing with your car shows. Like if you were to just invite anybody in because you want to make profit in the short run, well, in the long run, your name's not going to last. Yeah. So I mean, that's the trade-off that you have to be willing to make or that you have to think about when trying to take a strategy like that. But I think even in those scenarios where people are faking it to sell a course or maybe they're putting on a face to really seem like the macho business guy. Like, there's advice in there that I think you can learn from. Like, even if it's looking at what they're doing, just how they're putting it together. You can apply that in a much different way, but the core concepts are still there. Most definitely. Yeah. Most definitely. I think one of the biggest things that people, like, struggle with is, like, everybody wants to act like they know it all. Yeah. And, like, there's no way. Like, if you don't learn something new every day, what's the point, bro? Right. What's the point of getting up, man? And, my biggest thing is, like, I want to learn something new every single day. And, like, you can never master a skill. When people are like, he's an expert. Is there such thing as an expert that knows, like, everything about, something? Well, I think you can be an expert in your field. Like, I'd say, like, you're somebody that maybe in the grand scheme of the overall population of the world, maybe you're not an expert in cars, but you have enough knowledge that if I really have a question about something, I don't know, you're one of the first names that pops in my head. Like, you're an expert in that regard. But yeah, like you said, I think a lot of people take that almost too far where, you could be like, oh, I know X, Y, and Z about cars and hosting events and blah, blah, blah. Like, I got my shit unlocked. Like, I don't need to learn anything else. I'm going to gatekeep it all from people. Right. Or like either gatekeep it or just feel like you've already kind of reached this point of having learned everything, right? Yeah, and then just keep running, rinse and repeat. Right, exactly. But if you can say like, okay, like, yeah, I do have this dense knowledge in this field. Well, let me learn about like the next thing. There's always something to learn. I think I agree with you on that point that you're always a student of the game. And as soon as you stop thinking you're not, that's when you start really losing. in my opinion. But
I think, I'm really proud of Peaked and how the events that we hold. I like, how they're done, but there's always so much more you can improve on. I think it's the biggest thing with me is like, okay, we did that ballpark event. What can we do that's better?
Right.
How can we one up this event? How can we do this better? And, I'm going to throw Grid Life out there. Grid Life came out 2 years ago to PPIR, did an amazing event. Ramirez, Suicide Boys, all the big influencers were out there drifting. Everybody was there. And then the next year they came back, they couldn't top themselves. So guess what? They're not coming back this year.
Yeah.
Because they shot for the biggest event possible. And then now they're not able to outdo themselves. They shot themselves in the foot of those in that regards. But the thing about me is like I always want to learn what can I do better? How can we do it better? How can we have people more entertained at my events? How can we do all that? And so I think the biggest thing is just going into it with the mindset of like constant improvement, improvement, always being able to learn something new. Like you said, you can be essentially, like you were saying, like an expert and, know things pretty well, but you can never be like fully aware of everything.
No,
it's not possible. I'd say I'm pretty good. I wouldn't even say I'm an expert at car events. Not even close, man. Like I'm learning the ropes, but I'd say I'm pretty good at it.
Right.
But definitely, the experts out there, we're talking Week Fest. Yeah. We're talking the guys over at a Stance Nation. Those are guys that have international events. Right. Those are the people that you look up to, and it's fun. I'm going out to San Jose in July, early July, to meet the owner of Week Fest and hang out over there and learn something from him, and just consistently picking his brain. And I've met with some pretty cool people being in the scene so far, and I've been able to shoot with Crispy, which was fun. I've been able to meet some really cool company, owners of some companies, and that's been fun. But for me, it's always been, how did you do it? What were your struggles? What can I learn from your struggles? Right. What can I learn from you so that doesn't happen to me?
Right.
And that's what's been really really beneficial in just networking, man. It's for me, I can call somebody, hey bro, I need you to come out here, support me, and they got my back. It's all about who man, in the business world. That's kind of what I've been able to figure out is I've met a lot of cool people. I've been able to talk to a lot of cool people, and those people have been able to help me out. Like you were saying, Low Class.
Yeah.
That's a bigger name that kind of put us on their back and was able to kind of grow us a little bit faster, but it's because we knew them.
Right.
And so like for Camber Gangs coming out to Estes Park,
oh really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Lou, the funniest thing about that story is I've always wanted to be in Camber Gang since like 2018. I was like, that's the coolest group, man. Super exclusive. And I was like, man, this guy's so cool. Lou, he's the owner, man. He's super cool. And now Lou and I have hung out, out in Texas, out in Colorado. He's coming back out to Colorado. I'm gonna fly out there. We have like a personal friendship, and and now we're doing business together. It's just funny because you set your mind to do something like that. Like I wanna work with them, and now we're doing it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
And so it's been fun, dude.
That's cool to hear.
That's cool to hear. So.
Camber Gangs coming out to Estes Park. That's sweet. Are they bringing out like some cars or anything like that?
They're flying out. He's actually driving my E36 up there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so him and his girlfriend Trinity, she's awesome too. They're going to be coming out, and they're going to be, I told him ship all the merch to my house, and we'll drive up there, get everything set up. You'll have a booth, Fear of Dying, another big car group. They're coming out. Low Class Militia, of course, is going to be coming out there as well, and a couple other bigger name vendors are going to be coming out to Estes Park. The goal is, just kind of have like an H2O vibe without all like the hecticness of H2O. That was what originally my vision with Peaked. I don't know if you remember it, but it was called Peak 2.0.
Yep.
And we rebranded to Peaked just because it's a little simpler with the events. But that was my original vision, was to do like a weekend long event. So I was expecting to do this next year, but Patrick was like, dude, no, let's do it this year. I was like, okay, bro, like, let's do it, man.
Yeah.
Like if you want to do it, I'm all game, man. Like, let's do it. But we already have people coming out from Texas, New Mexico, Utah, California, and of course, Colorado. So we already have a lot of people coming from out of state to enjoy a freaking awesome weekend with great people and great cars in the mountains. And what a cool venue, bro. What a cool spot.
And Estes Park. Yeah, man. That'll
Such a cool spot, man. In August, it doesn't get better as far as weather, too.
No, it doesn't.
That's going to be an event I think is just going to pop off, bro. I think that event,
I'm excited for that one.
I am too, man. The whole weekend, we're gonna get a bigger Airbnb. It'll be the Peak Dex Camber Gang house, and so I'm sure we'll do a party. Can't go too hard because I gotta manage these events, but
yeah,
the whole partying days are kind of over too, man. Like,
yeah. Well, you got to focus up at some point, right? And when you got things like this to manage and take care of, then it's that time.
Yeah, man.
And I feel like it naturally comes too. I think a lot of people like what I've realized in my life, like I've enjoyed partying and all that too, just like you were just talking about. But I think it comes naturally where as you start to shift your focus onto other things, and that just kind of fades away to a degree. Now, granted, there's always going to be times where I'm like, let's let loose, like, exactly, let's celebrate. But naturally that'll just fade away, and bigger and better things take your focus, and then God, I'd rather go to bed at 9 on this Friday.
Was me last night, man. I was sitting down I was sitting down on my couch at like 9:15, and I was like, I'm just gonna go to bed, bro. I'm tired, dude. I did a lot of work and stuff like that. Did a lot of work in the Beamer and stuff like that. I was like, I'm going to sleep, man. So it was funny because my last day at Lexus was Saturday, right? Mm-hmm. Last day, my boss let me go home early, 3:00. I loved that job. Genuinely loved that job. A lot of people can't say they love their job. I loved that job. So fun. Great people, amazing products. You're selling something you believe in. You're learning sales. That's a big thing is I wanted to get in that job because I was uncomfortable with the idea of having to sell somebody something. Yeah. Now I love it, bro. Yeah. I love it. It's so much fun, man. And I went in there because I was like, I'm uncomfortable. I want to get outside my boundaries. I want to push my boundaries. And so I did it. I was very successful. I finished off #1 car salesman on my last month. Crushed it as far as sales goes. And I left early that day, and I was like, you know what? I was kind of sad because I was like, I love these people. These are great people. Kind of sad, I only worked 4 days a week, 9 hours a shift. It wasn't that bad, but I need to put full attention into what I'm doing now. But I bought a bottle of 1942 on Saturday. I didn't buy the little one. I bought the 1.75. Yeah. I bought the big one. And I was like, I'm gonna go home, man. I'm gonna take some shots, hang out with some people, chill out. And man, I bring the bottle home. I was like, dude, I'm not gonna touch it, man. It's still sitting unopened, man. I'm like, you know what? I'm not even about it, dude. Like, just the thought of drinking that's like, ugh, dude. Like, you just kind of grow up, man. You just kind of realize, I'm like, oh, that's a flex, man. So cool. You spent X amount of dollars on this bottle. It's awesome. But like, you get to the point where I'm like, if I drink that, I know I'm gonna drink too much of that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wake up, waste a whole day with a hangover. Is it really worth it? Like, so that really. Like the whole party time and the whole party days, man, is long gone, dude. I can't like, just the fact of wasting a day.
Yes.
Is just like, I can't fathom that, man. Like, I value my time so much that I can't just throw away a day.
100%. I mean, I agree. When it comes to like, especially like being in the gym, it's like, okay, you're hungover, then you can't like work out, which is like for me, it's like become such a crucial part of my day that kind of like lets me know I really checked all the boxes. Like, it was a fully flushed day. And once I've hit the gym, I've gotten some work done. Like, I've had some good meals. I'm in a good space.
You're going to eat crappy too, hangover. Right. You're going to want to have food. You're not going to want to get out of bed.
Yep. You're not going to want to cook.
No.
It's just like, you start stacking all those elements of it up. And it's not worth it anymore. And it's like the more good days you can stack together, I think, are a very key element to making what you want to have happen.
Consistency.
Right. Consistency, but like consistency with yourself. Like, I know there's a ton of people in the world that have great ideas. I don't think there's any lack of business ideas. For example, like hustle culture and entrepreneurialism is booming as an idea and a lifestyle for a reason, because a lot of people resonate with it. Mm-hmm. However, it's like, how many people are taking the steps to consistently have the days that allow them to create the opportunities that they need to make those ideas true? And I think that's part of it. It's like, well, when you party, you're hungover, you miss the whole day, and then, and then you're trying to scramble to make up for it the next day. But if you can string together 2 months of solid days that you're knocking shit out and you're putting in work, that's when your ideas start to like become real.
Yeah, it's not an overnight, man. I was at Lexus the other day, and I met the owner of Salsa Brava and Urban Egg.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
nice.
He owned all of them. He has sold 75% of the business for, as you can imagine,
millions
of dollars.
A lot of dollars.
Yeah. And,
was he getting an RC 500?
Nah, bro. He was looking at an ES, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Didn't sell him though, but it is what it is. My name's Randy. Great guy. Like, really genuinely, like, a very good guy. And I was like, dude, I just want to pick your brain. Yeah, so I sat there and I picked his brain for about 45 minutes, and I was like, so what would you say like your biggest key to success is? And he's like, overnight success took 22 years. That resonates with me, man, because like, you just can't, so many people just see this lifestyle, and going back to social media, so many people just see this lifestyle on social media, and they're like, well, if I work for 3 weeks, man, I can get to where he is.
Yeah,
Bro,
no.
Like that's not how that works. Like it's gonna take you years. And Sebastian, we both know Sebastian, great guy. That kid, that guy, I'm gonna say he's not a kid. He's not a kid anymore. That guy is a grinder, bro.
100%.
Like insane. Like genuinely, like somebody almost like, bro, you gotta like, sometimes almost like, bro, you gotta take a step back, bro.
Right.
Like,
no, 100%.
You're going too hard. But from what he grew in a year is incredible.
It's actually ridiculous.
Like if you look at it from like a business standpoint, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck? Like, dude,
I know it was like every 2 weeks or something. I'd look back and it's like solid milestone, like
huge.
Like milestones would take people a year to do it themselves.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you were coordinating. Just like the ability to coordinate, line up, and put things into reality was ridiculous to see.
Insane. No, I mean
it's extremely motivating.
Oh, absolutely. And the funny thing is, Sebastian, you know where I met him?
Mm-hmm.
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah,
exactly.
Synergy.
Exactly. I met him, and I remember he was like, I'm going to be big on TikTok. I'm going to be on TikTok. I was like, you shut the fuck up. No, you're not. Like, just shut him down. Like, kill his vibe and shit like that. I was like, no, you're not, bro. No, you're not. And I just talk shit on him, and I never, like, I knew he is very capable. I mean,
right.
he's a guy that when he has his mindset on something, he'll get it done.
100%.
He's a very, very inspiring individual, genuinely. And something that I always thought, I was like, you know what, you're not going to be anything, man. And I always gave him that shit because it's like, you know what? I know this kid's going to do something. I know Sebastian's going to do something crazy.
Yeah.
And look at him now, man. Very proud of him, man. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
Genuinely, just a knowledgeable guy, So just beyond impressed with what he's built. And show car, I remember him sending me pictures, Snapchatting me the van. He's like, bro, should I buy it? I was like, yeah, dude, buy it, man. And from that van, look at the company he has now. And so but that's something that's a one-off.
Yeah.
That's somebody that literally that we were talking about previously is somebody that does the grind like all the time at like 1 a.m. Like that's passion for you.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it was like, and it was when he did it too. It was in high school. You know what I mean? You got to think like in high school, like I was a degenerate in high school. Like I was unfocused. I wasn't
partying all the time.
Yeah, I was partying. I was worried about like getting with chicks, like all the other dumb shit that most people think about. Like truthfully, that's kind of where my head was. And I always had aspirations, but like I've known Sebastian since that point in time, and he was even back then that he was like, dude, yeah, like he was trying things out. He was shooting his shot.
Cars
he was flipping cars. He was posting TikToks, like whatever. He was doing what it needed. Mm-hmm. He was doing what he needed to do to learn when like everybody else is fucking off. And now you see.
Now it shows off.
Now it's like, a bunch of people that I know, like I've known him for years, but now I hear people like, oh, bro, you know Sebastian, like blah, blah, blah. Like, crazy life. I'm like, yeah, like I've seen him building that for 4 years or more, arguably, even before the van. You know what I mean? Like all the steps up to that point, right? So
yeah, but people don't see what he does,
right?
Like consistently, like day to day. Like that's the thing is like you can show a lifestyle, like we were talking about. You can show a lifestyle, and like that's the smart thing from a business marketing standpoint. Genius, show a lifestyle,
right?
And he has gotten to the point where he can show that lifestyle. With the Shelby Baja Raptor. I remember he was like, bro, should I do it? Should I do it? I'm like, bro, it's entirely your decision, man. You make that call. You make that call. But, people don't see the side of him where he's working all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I can give him a call right now. He'll be working. Yeah. I guarantee you. Like, and so that's the thing is, like, people like that, they work all the time. And I respect it, bro. Because I'll be honest with you, man, some days I'll get up, I'll be like, dude, I don't want to do this. But like, you got to do it, man. You got to do it. But no, props to Sebastian, man. Great guy, great influence, good person to have in your inner works. He's a part owner in Peak too. Not a lot of people know that, but he is a part owner. He does some of the back end stuff. And so good guy to know, good guy to have. Just around.
Your network is your net worth, man.
Absolutely.
And absolutely, yeah. When I think of connections that I value, you, him, people that are going after it, not necessarily because like, oh, you can get me a venue at a Peak event. It's not necessarily that, but it's just the fact that you're actively going after what you want to do and are really running. Yeah, you're motivated and you're running a business of your own. And so even if I'm doing something completely separate, I know you're somebody I can call that actually has their foot in the fucking water of owning a business, right?
So dude, absolutely.
It's people like that in general that I value having around me that, pick
I
their
do
brain.
Too,
and
I did too. You're like you were saying, your network is your net worth, man.
Yeah.
I love just knowing people. I love surrounding myself with people that are as motivated as I am. That want to be as successful as I am. Like, because the biggest thing is there's so many people are just like, They just want stuff handed to them, man. And that's not how life works. You know, you got to work for what you have. Like everybody that you see out there, I'm not going to say everybody, a majority of the people that you see driving these nice cars, they work to get there.
100%.
Or live in the nice house. They work to get there. You know, it's not just handed to them. And my biggest thing is like, you got to surround yourself with motivating people. Like, for example, if I surrounded myself with people that are unmotivated partiers, guess what? I'd become a partier.
Right.
I would become somebody that parties all the time. If I surround myself with people that are always going out, always drinking, always smoking, doing all that stuff, yeah, it's a blast. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, it's a great time.
It can be a great time. Yeah, it absolutely can.
But you get sucked into that lifestyle. Yeah. But when you surround yourself with people that are very motivated and that have a very, you know, entrepreneurial mindset, you're gonna adapt, you're gonna learn, and you're gonna.
And then you start feeding off each other. That synergy that's born.
Love it, dude.
You know, like I'm so thankful that I live with my roommates Ben and Elijah. Like,
Elijah seems like a super cool dude.
Yeah, and Elijah's on his shit. You know what I mean? Ben's on his shit. Like we're all like in this apartment. We got it together last year. Coming up on a year now. It was in May. The end of May, we moved in here. Mm-hmm. And we took a road trip out to California to get Elijah's stuff because he had lived out there. Mm-hmm. And he was moving back. And that was kind of what sparked like, all right, let's get a place together. I was already living my own, but at the shithole lodges. Hated that place, man. Anyways,
party
so I was
place,
like,
party place.
Not even, dude. It's just a shithole. Like I won't even go. I won't even go into that. But lodges sucks. Anyways, we move here, and our whole goal, like on the road trip, we were like, all right, like this is gonna be like our castle, right? Like this is where we like bunker down and we work together. Like we're living 20 feet from each other. Like we know we all want to do our own thing entrepreneurially, own our own business. Like we're not trying to go work for anyone else. Like let's synergize all that and play off of each other and make an opportunity. Let's make money together. Mm-hmm. And I think my advice to anybody that hasn't moved out yet or is thinking about the roommates to get, like I wouldn't get roommates that you necessarily see yourself partying with all the time or whatever, but get roommates that you genuinely see yourself being able to build like where you want to go with, you know, if they're motivated, like if you know, like, oh, I have a blast with Johnny at the parties, man. But I also know, like, whenever I call Johnny, he's in bed at 2 p.m.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, he's fun at midnight when we're doing degeneracy, but like, whatever, you know, think about the guy that you see is like your friend in your life, whoever that is, that's up and at it and grinding and motivated and wanting to go to the same place as you. I think, speaking from my life experience, which is much smaller than most of the world, but I can say that at least that is something that I'm very grateful for, that I put myself in the position of having, like, just even my roommates, but then people like you as well, like, you know, very grateful for the network that I have to be able to reach for.
No, most definitely, yeah, and I appreciate our friendship, and I appreciate how far you come along as well. I mean, you know, I remember you back in the Chick-fil-A days, and you know, we all did some questionable stuff. Yeah, I was actually thinking the other day, I'm not gonna tell the story but I remember one time you were at work and you were off your A game, man. I know you're talking. Oh man, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, and I was like, why? You can't be at work right now.
No.
And you're like, dude, I'm okay. I'm like, you are not okay, bro. I was like, dude, you are not okay. I was like,
dude, Josh, what are you talking about?
Exactly, bro. Sweeping the floor. Yeah, okay, bro. But you know, like, I was there too, man. Yeah. I first time I moved out, I put myself on a house of just partiers, man. Just fucking ragers, man. And every single night, we'd be up till 2 o'clock just smoking, bro. Never drinking, just smoking. So stoned.
Yeah.
Bro, there was nothing. I had a cool car. That was it. I made my whole personality about that. Like, what's there to flex about that?
Yeah.
Like the flex to me is only cool if you have your shit together. It's only cool, man. Like, yeah, you can have the cool car, but what are you doing to get there? Right. Or you're working at a fast food job?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. I want to associate myself with you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that sounds like very narcissistic, but
I think it's mature.
I think it's maturity, man. Yeah. Like, you know, like we all did the partying. We all did the go out there and have a blast, but you got to kind of grow up a little bit.
Yeah. And then, like you said, set your horizons a little farther, you know? Like, for you, the horizon was, like, having the dope car. And then you realized, well, that's actually a pretty small horizon. Like, what does the dope car even mean?
Yeah. It's not cool if it's not backed up by anything.
Right. It's not cool if it's not bagged. I thought you almost said. I was like, bro.
Hey, bro. No, shout out Cloud9 Air Suspension. Follow us on Instagram right here, guys.
Yes, I'm gonna drop a link to that. We'll see. Like I said, I'm debating do I want to get my own set of bags, but we'll see. But not to get off track, you know, I think
Can you use the restroom real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just straight ahead down the hall. Yeah, you're more than welcome to.
Sorry, I slammed that Red Bull too quick.
No, you're good, bro. Same deal.
But the thing is, like, we were talking about surrounding yourself with influential people. Like, dude, I've lived in houses, like I was saying. My first house when I moved out, fun people to be around, right?
Yeah, but a
fun
party
people,
house.
But a party house.
Yeah.
So that's what I became. I became a product of my environment.
Right.
I became somebody that partied all the time. I made my persona as, oh, dude, he's Josh, bro. He can outsmoke you.
Yeah, yeah. I've been there. I've been around that.
Yeah, dude. Well, is that cool now? Like, do you think that's cool?
No.
Not at all.
But I remember that, like, it
used to be when you were in that environment, when that was your head was. It was cool.
And then it was like when I started surrounding myself with people that were, because I always, like I said, I feel like everybody out there in the world has that aspiration of like, oh, I want to do my own thing. Like, I don't think there's very many people that truly deep down are like, I want to go work for somebody else. Like, truthfully, no. Yeah. There's like doctors and nurses where that's the command chain, right? Is that you arguably are always working for somebody else. But you're doing your thing, you're passionate about medicine, whatever it is.
You have your own practice.
Yeah, you have your own practice. Like, that's its own deal for sure. But I think once I started surrounding myself more and more and having more meaningful conversations about doing the things that I and my people wanted to do for themselves, that like rubs off on you. And it's that much harder to be concerned about all the other shit when you're having conversations like that, because you're like, dang, like, am I really taking the steps towards it? And then, are the people that I'm surrounding myself really taking the steps towards that are going to help me, or like, are they influencing me in the right way? And so absolutely, like, you're a product of your environment. What is the saying? You're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Oh, absolutely.
So real. Because I've looked at, like, I'm so thankful for being a military brat, because it's allowed me to move multiple times throughout my life. I moved shortly after we met. I moved in 2020.
To Fayetteville, right?
Back to North Carolina. Yeah. So, I mean, I bounced back and forth my whole life. I had just moved back from North Carolina the summer before I met you. We met in January. I'd moved back in July.
I remember that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so being able to move back and forth like that kept me from being around the same 5 people. Yeah. Like, think about that. Like, when you grow up K through 12 in the same town, you arguably make your friends in, like, elementary, middle school. Maybe things shift around here and there a little bit. You still see your same buddies or whatever. And maybe your friend group changes, right? That typically happens. But you're still around, like, the same people that entire 12 years of your life, like, throughout school at least, or whatever. And then most people have that shift when they go off to college. I was thankful that, like, in elementary school, in middle school, in high school, I had those shifts. Like, I had those moves. Yeah. And it gives you a state of reflection. Like, now that I haven't moved in the last 2 years, but I have changed the people I surround myself with, which is enough of a move. Like, people talk about, like,
mindset shift.
Right. And I know I'm not the first to say this, but the number one way to change your habits is to change your environment. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people think they have to move to another city or another state. I think it'd be just the same as moving locations. When I moved from the lodges to here, it's made a huge impact on my mindset and on, like, my day in and day out drive. Being surrounded by the right people day in and day out has made a huge impact.
Oh, absolutely, man, absolutely. I think when you surround yourself with positive individuals, you become a positive person yourself. And one of the biggest things for me was, finding a group of people that are like-minded and want to achieve the same amount of success that I'm striving to achieve. And I think so many people associate success with, a monetary value with just money, but I think success comes from, I know Mark Cuban says it, but, like, anymore, man, I would rather just work for myself, like, you can work a 9 to 5, get paid. Like, I'll be honest with you, like, if I was to stick with Lexus, I'd probably made $200,000 plus a year. Yeah. And it's great money. It's awesome. But the fact knowing that when I get up in the morning, I can do whatever I want. Yeah. And I set my schedule and I can say whatever I want and there's no HR to get me in trouble. Right. And I think there's a beauty in that.
There 100% is.
And there's a beauty in that. And I think with surrounding myself with people that are like-minded have gotten me to that point. Like, for me, I'm taking a risk. Like I said, I was making a fantastic living working at Lexus. Absolutely amazing living. More than comfortable. But there's a thing where I'm making $200K a year, but I'm getting taxed on half that.
Right.
So, like, if I make $100,000 with peaked, $200,000 with peaked, like, I can write so much stuff off. I don't essentially pay anything on taxes.
Right.
So it's essentially all profit. And so it's, I'm very thankful for the people that I've met along the way and people that have influenced me. I told myself back when I was working at Lexus, I told myself the next time I leave a job will be the last time I'll work a traditional job. Like I told myself that ever since I was like 14, 15 years old. You can ask my parents. I was always like, I want to be my own boss. I've always said that. I want to be my own boss. I want to be in charge of myself. I always wanted to be self-employed. And I've taken this massive risk at 22 years old where I'll be able to do it. I set goals for myself. I always told them when I'm 25 years old, I want to own a supercar. When I'm 30 years old, I want to be self-employed. Well, I'm 22, and it's to the point where you work so hard. It's crazy, man. Like and I try to explain it to people, but you can't put words to how it feels. No. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's nothing like it.
No, there's not.
There's nothing that you can compete or can compare with being self-employed, with being your own boss.
Right. It's scary, because there's this, realization that I had, and the best way to put it is you have to show up for yourself every day to live the life you want to live.
Most definitely.
Another great way to put it is you got to do what you got to do what you want to do.
Most definitely.
And a lot of people are kind of comfortable in the fact that they're willing to be told what to do so they don't have to think about it too much, because that's more comfortable than taking the risk of like, dude, I got to wake up. I need to make sure this is done. If that doesn't get done, I don't get paid. If I don't get paid, I don't make rent. Like, a lot of people don't want to think about all that. But if you're willing to get past that and really, really like sit down and grind for it and find something that you enjoy doing that you can also make money to live off of, I don't necessarily think you have to set the ceiling super high to live a great life. Mm-hmm. You don't need to make $250,000 a year is what I mean, being self-employed. But if you're self-employed and you make enough money that you can travel, like you set up opportunities where you're traveling for your business, for whatever you're doing on your own, and you're making comfortable money, like that's making it, right? Because then you're doing what you want to do on your time, on your word, when you want to, right? Versus like, oh, I gotta wait till my paid days off are stacked up enough so I can go on this trip. My PTO is stacked up enough to...
Gotta make sure that nobody else has that time off too.
Yeah,
so
right.
Right.
Yeah, like once you don't have to worry about that, then it's like, that's making it. Like, that in and of itself is such
my definition of success.
Yeah, that's what I've come to realize too. Like, granted, I have some material goals. Like, I want to have a fucking supercar and all that. So it's like
25. I want a Lamborghini, Ferrari, McLaren.
Right. So it's like I have those goals that are tied to monetary goals, but the bigger goal is just to be able to live. Like, I want to go skydiving. When I want to go skydiving, like whatever.
It's awesome.
I want to go to Europe, and if I can go to Europe and make money at the same time, like fantastic.
Work remotely, man. That's the thing is like. The funniest thing is that I one time I bought my MacBook like 2 years ago, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna spend this money because it's gonna make me money.
Right.
I have paid for that MacBook like 30 times, 50 times over, man, in like 6 months. It's just like people don't understand. You can pull money out of thin air. You can pull money out of thin air. Like it's money's not hard to get. It takes time to get. Essentially, like you can. It's not difficult to make crazy amounts of money. It's going to take a long time and you're going to have to work for it, but overall it's not difficult to do.
No.
And so many people just associate, oh, you're successful because you have $1 million. Like, I think success is being able to wake up in the morning and be able to do whatever you want to when you want to and be happy while doing it. Right. I think that's success. And I think that you got to be happy while doing it. That's the number one thing. Is like, for me, like, I'm genuinely a very happy individual. Like, I'm usually never in a bad mood. I try not to be. I don't let myself get in a bad mood. I surround myself with people that are very positive, so it doesn't get me in a bad mood. You know? And
that's huge too. Your mindset. Your I think the further you can get away from having a victim mindset and blaming your product on other people or extraneous pieces of your environment and just take credibility for it. Take ownership for your environment and for where you are, and then work towards it. Like, create a checklist of how to change that, and work towards it and take the action that you need to set yourself up how you want to live. Yeah. Whether that be getting a better job or working on your own or whatever that looks like for an individual. The less sorry, I'm trying to think of the best way to say this, but the more you can just own it and go for it, I think that automatically will kill a lot of people's like depression. This new age like depression, I think, comes from we live in a very
victimized society.
Yeah, we live in a very victimized society where people want to point the finger to X, Y, and Z on why they're not doing what they want to do.
Stupid.
Just ignore it. It's super stupid.
It's stupid. It's and this sounds stupid to say or disrespectful to say, but if you're depressed, there's a reason for it.
100%.
There's a reason.
Yeah.
There's something that you're doing to make yourself depressed. When you go on Instagram, people are, I'm so depressed. First off, you're attention seeking.
Right.
First off, like, you don't have to make your personal life on Instagram or social media. You don't have to. I don't do that.
No,
I used to.
not.
I don't do that.
No.
I don't bring people in my personal life what's going on. But you can change how you view things. You can change, okay, this just happened in my life. That's unfortunate. I just lost my job. How can I bounce back harder and be more successful? Instead of looking at it like, I just lost my job. I don't know how I'm going to make it work. I don't know how I'm going to do that.
Screw that job,
man. Exactly.
Screw that job.
Man, these employers are the worst. I never want to work for them.
Yeah.
Change your mindset.
Yeah.
Change how you look at things. And I always say one of the things that I've said, and I've been saying it for a long time. I don't think I got it from anywhere. I think I just came up with it. Is that being content is being lazy. I'm like, and that some people really disagree with me on that. I know a lot of people have actually gotten like kind of upset with me saying that, but like, if you're content in life, don't you consider that laziness? Like, oh, I'm just content where I'm at. I don't want any better. And I think there's a certain form of contentment or being content enough, but I don't think it's being content. I think it's being comfortable.
Right.
Like, having a nice house, having nice cars, having nice, clothes, having nice, like it's cool. And you're probably pretty comfortable with it, but like, you can always do better.
Right, and why not? You have one lifespan. Why stop at the white picket fence?
Dude, it's May already. People, like, it's been a year since it's been 5 months. It felt like it's been like a month. People don't realize like you gotta your actions today impact what happens tomorrow completely. Like if I was doing everything that I wanted to do in the following year, I'd be in a completely different space in my life. And there's some things that I'd wake up in the morning and decide not to do, but you are completely the pilot of your plane. You're completely able to do what you want. And that's my biggest thing is it like going back to the depression, like I'm sad. How are you going to fix that?
Right.
What are you going to do?
Are you in the gym? What are you eating?
What are you going to do?
Right.
Well, what habits? And that's something big that I want to get on too is habits, man. People don't understand the impact of habits. Think of something you do every single day that mindlessly do every single day.
Right.
For me, I wake up and make my bed.
Yeah.
A habit.
Yeah.
I always do. I don't even think about doing it. I just do it. Like it's instant. Like boom, there we go. I make my bed first thing in the morning. You can program yourself to do just instant habit. I don't know if you ever read Atomic Habits. Have you ever read that book? Yeah. Great book.
Yeah, great book.
And it tells you can program things in your life. You can program how your day goes and get that all and make sure you're set up for success. And that's the biggest thing, man, is that you're in complete control on what you want to do, how you want to do. If you want to be a multi-billionaire, you could do that. You can do it.
But are you willing to, put in line the habits? Right. Take the risks and
set up the habits in life. Mm-hmm. Like for me, like I have a bad habit. For me, every morning I love Dutch Bros, bro. I go to Dutch Bros every single morning. It's a bad habit, but you know what? I told myself like I got to stop because like it's not good. It's not a good habit. It's one of those habits where it's like, oh, whatever. I'll wake up. I'll drive my car over there, whatever. But what can I replace that habit with?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I wake up. I have breakfast, and I make pre-made breakfasts. So I literally already have. I do like 10 burritos every. I make them, meal prep them, and just put them in the freezer. Bring one out, put them out there. Super simple, super cost efficient, and good food for you. Quality. I mean, they're not heavy.
Yeah.
Use turkey sausage, low carb tortillas. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not bad for you. And what am I going to replace that habit with of going to Dutch Bros? Well, I'll start working earlier. I'll start changing that habit. So then now you're in control of your life. Now you're in control of what you're doing every single day. And so many people don't understand that. So many people want to blame the system, be a victim. Oh, well, this job my boss is being mean to me.
Yeah.
Bro,
what? Yeah.
What?
Leave then, or what?
That's my biggest pet peeve. I hate this job.
Yeah. Okay.
So leave.
Yeah. So go do something else.
So go do exactly.
Yeah. And that's what I realized.
Crazy, man.
I worked at Bird Dog for a long time, and no shade on Bird Dog. Like, it's a great store. It's a great, company. The owner, Brad, like, I have a lot of solid relationships with everyone there. But I found personally, more so from what I really wanted to do and where I wanted to go and what I really knew deep down I was capable of, I wasn't tapping into any of that. I was like, man, I am burning time here. Absolutely. I was like, I am just, like, sure, I'm getting a steady paycheck or whatever, and that feels comfortable. But I was like, dude, I need to, like, I would hate to be 40 looking back going, why didn't I just fucking jump for it? And so rather than be spiteful of it, and then I feel like there's a lot of people that get so scared of taking the step that they just get bitter that they're stuck there. And they're bitter at the job. I could be like, man, Bird Dog, man, I hate Bird Dog. But it's really like, is it that I hate Bird Dog, or is it that I hate myself for not taking the risk? And so I realized that, and I was like, all right, I just got to go for it. Like, I'm not going to die. I'm not going to fall out and be homeless. Like, just take the risk and change my environment and, like, go for it. Like you said, take control. Like, I was like, all right, I haven't truly been behind the wheel for a little while. Like, let me take the wheel and start guiding this ship myself.
Dude, most definitely. And that's how I felt, too, man. It's exactly the same thing. It's like, I'm making a very comfortable living at Lexus. A very comfortable, like, living. But am I going to look back in 5-10 years? Like, because here's the thing is I'm sitting with an employee right next to me, Tom, great guy, fantastic guy. He's worked there 19 years. And he's like, oh, it's awesome. I'm making $200,000 a year. That's awesome, bro. That's great.
Yeah.
But I know I can do better. Not just financially, but, as far as lifestyle and everything like that goes. Like, it's a Wednesday when we're doing this podcast, and I can just drive here and do this and have the time to be able to do it. And so many people don't value that. So many people are just living their life on autopilot, man. And it's just like,
autopilot's the best way to put it, I think.
Yeah, dude, you just press the button and you just coast.
Yep.
You just coast. And you know what? It's comfortable. It's content. You're content at that point in your life. You're very content. But I think being content is being lazy. I think that there's so much more of a life to live. Whether that's traveling somewhere, whether that's meeting new people, whether, that's networking, there's just so much you can do. And if you have to be confident in yourself. And I took a big risk, man, on leaving Lexus, but I put myself in a position where I grew the company enough where I know I'm going to make the money,
right,
to, like, be comfortable for the next while. But it's just, I don't know. It's hard to explain in words, man.
It is.
You know what
I
I'm
understand.
saying? Like, but you hit the nail on the head by saying you don't want to look back. You don't want to look back. You don't want to say, wow, I wish I would have done that. I'm 22. If guess what? If all things went to shit, I go back at Lexus. I have a relationship with the owner.
Exactly.
Worst case. That's worst case. I was already in a great position there. So what? So what's the loss?
Nothing.
Nothing.
You're going to learn so much out of the experience of working for yourself.
And I'll never put myself in a position where I have to go back. I'll always grind hard enough to stay afloat.
Right.
Like, that's people, man, I don't know. It's hard to explain because it's just crazy, man.
Yeah.
There's no other feeling. Like, we were starting when we were saying this, like, being self-employed and being able to be your own boss. I mean, these last, like, because I've only been doing it for 3 days, man. Well, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then today, Wednesday, only 4 days being self-employed. But you caught me on the time where I'm just like, wow, it's finally coming to realization.
Mm-hmm.
Where I woke up this morning, and I usually go to work on Wednesday. I usually have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And I woke up this morning, and it's 6 a.m. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to press snooze. I'm going to get a 6:15. And there's the feeling of just, it's crazy, man.
Yeah.
It's hard to describe, but it's fun, dude. It's fun. And it's fun learning from people and talking to people. And it's awesome, man.
That's why I'm here, man. That's why I'm doing this. You know, I started this podcast because I realized the power of conversation and being able to talk to other people and learn vicariously through them. And I said, well, this is something I genuinely enjoy. Like, I always take the opportunity to try and talk to somebody new when I have that chance. And I was like, well, this is inherently something I enjoy doing. Why not really create a platform for it where I can sit down with interesting people doing cool things that are working for themselves and have abundance of knowledge from doing so, learn myself from those conversations, and then, also put it out there for other people to learn from and enjoy. Like, you know, it's entertainment, but I also hope it's education at the same time. I want people to sit down and tune in and walk away learning something, you know, whether that's just about you or, you know, kind of a moment of reflection about their own life. And that's the ultimate goal. So now, you know, like we've been saying, I've kind of created this life where I can make money off of doing what I truly enjoy and that will take me places, and I'm doing it on my own, like on my own accord. That's awesome. It's such a great feeling.
It's such a great feeling, man. And that's the biggest thing, is that you just have to work, man. You know, that's the biggest thing. People don't want to do that. Like you were saying earlier, you know, the victim position, or, you know, just the lifestyle is, you know, when I was working, so I worked at Carvana for 9 months. Don't talk to me about it, because it was terrible. But everybody I worked with was a victim.
Yes.
Every single person. I'm not even exaggerating that. A team of 20 to 25 people, every single one was a victim. You know how draining that is?
Extremely.
Like
yes.
Do you know how, like, I was genuinely like, whoa. And I wasn't depressed, because, like I said, like I don't let myself get to that point, you know,
right.
and I never will. But I was just like, I was just curious. How did these people feel this? Like, how do you feel like the world owes you something?
Right.
Like, how do you feel like I'm a victim? Like, the system has it out for me. Does it?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, really? Like, everybody's granted the same 24 hours a day. It's just depending on how you use your time. And it's just crazy, man. Like, I look at these people that are, you know, doing these jobs where I'm just like, whoa, like I would never. Like, do you genuinely enjoy that? Or, like, have you just coasted your whole life? Have you put your life on autopilot and just, like, let yourself do that? And for me, it's, like I said, the success isn't just financial for me. It's, you know, it's being happy and being able to do whatever I want to when I want to, and being self-employed. But I don't get that. I hate that sounds horrible, and I've always tried to explain that to people. I get it. But you get what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, I don't get how people can just let that happen to them in their life. And
I think it's almost this whirlwind where, like, you know, I think a lot of people don't take the time to really reflect on their life. Mm-hmm. And it can be that easy to let 5, 10 years just fly by.
That's crazy.
Where you're sitting at Carvana and you're used to the Monday through Friday, like, oh, okay, this is my life, like, blah, blah, I'll go, you know, do whatever I enjoy on Saturday. I'll relax on Sunday, and then I'm back in it. And they don't have to think about it. They don't have to question what they're going to do on Monday. They know what's going on. And, like, just like that, you burn away several years of your life.
I could never do it.
Yeah, and I'm thankful for this point in time, because there's testimonials all over the internet. Like, we talk about the positives of social media. Like, you're able to get a reflection of those people that are authentic online, that are doing it. They can, you know, give you a glimpse of, you know, what's out there and what's also possible. Because, you know,
I credit that a lot to why I took the risk. Mm-hmm. Because seeing these people's lifestyles and meeting these people, like I said, doing the car events, you know, meeting these people that are driving these awesome exotic cars and stuff like that. You know, I ask them, hey, man, what do you do for a living? Oh, I own blank.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm the co-founder of blank.
Right.
Oh, I'm the... So you start to think, you're like, okay, you're the co-founder, you're the owner. And then you start thinking, you're like, okay, like these aren't your 9-to-5ers.
Nope.
These aren't your people that are going in every single day, you know, looking for a pay. These are people that have that grind mentality, and, you know, you start watching what they're doing and seeing how they're doing things, and then you kind of adapt some of their knowledge from them, and you be able to implement it into your own life. And that's something that I've been able to do lately, is just kind of, you know, adapt information and, you know, put it into my own life and how I want to use it. Like, you know, something that might work for some person is not going to work for me. It's just not. Right. But I can take what that person's doing, think about it, reflect on it, and then implement it into my life and see how that works. And I think that's just something that's been very helpful for me.
Right.
But no, it's crazy, man. I mean, it's life is one of those things that, like you said, 10 years can go by like that. Like I said, 5 months has already gone by like that. I don't know about you, 4 months.
Same, like, yeah. I think about January and I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, dude.
Here we are.
Yeah, and, you know, you're thinking, I'm like, okay, cool. I have a wonderful summer ahead of me. About to be a blast of a summer, man. You know, I got to have a lot of fun with the summer, just with all the events going on and everything going on. I'm really looking forward to it. But it's you can't just let that time fly, man. You got to utilize it. You got to spend time with the ones, your loved ones around you too. You got to put time for the special people around you. Surround yourself with people that, you enjoy, that are influential on you and help you grow. Because at the end of the day, the only person that loves you the most is yourself, man. Genuinely, that's kind of how it is. So you got to be happy with yourself and you got to be content with yourself and grow.
Yeah, I think a lot of people ignore that voice in their head.
Oh, yeah.
It's there, and they'll listen to it sometimes. They'll listen to it at night, but that voice is usually telling you what you need to do.
Yeah, mine was you got to take the risk.
Right.
Mine was big time.
Same.
You just got to
listen to it because I think that's where a lot of people get depressed is knowing deep down what they should be doing and not doing it, or what they could have done and not really listening to it, not actually doing it, and that's what eats at people. Would just because a lot of people can't put their finger on why they're sad, but I think that's really what it is. You're not doing what you can, or you should. And the more I think people can start to realize that and move away from it and really start to go after it, that a lot of their problems are going to seemingly start to fade. I've realized that the podcast I started and kind of hit some road bumps, and then it was boom, 6 months later I was like, dude, I haven't done an episode in a while. You know what I mean? Because of X, Y, and Z. I won't get into it, but it was just having to figure out a lot of personal life things that I just felt were keeping me from being able to really put my time and energy into this and think about it the way I needed to. But it was just that quick. I got kind of caught up in it, this overwhelmed feeling. And then 6 months flew by and I was like, holy, dude, what am I doing? I just kind of had to snap out of it.
You just got to hop back on that chair, bro.
Right. Yeah. And being able to do that, dude, that even just that 6 months taught me so much, about getting into those states and how to avoid them and, how to really never go back there. I don't think I'll ever hit that again.
Yeah, I mean, something that I've been very focused on recently is, I'm trying to better my life. I'm trying to do better every single day. And I think that if you don't try to better your life every single day, then what's the point of getting up in the morning? If you don't want to be a better person every single day you wake up, it's kind of silly if you ask me,
No, 100%.
And something that I've been really, really working on, and I want to learn skills, man. I think that's something for me, BMXing. I love BMXing. Love it, man.
Really?
And so, yeah, I do. And so that's something I've been taking up on, is learning, how to, be good at BMX biking and stuff like that. Learning all the fun tricks and doing all that stuff and eating healthier and for my thing of working out is riding my BMX bike for an hour, it's great. It's essentially great just being active and stuff like that. And it's just if you don't strive to be better every single day and teach yourself something every day, then there's not a point of getting up, in my opinion. But you learn a lot, man. You gotta, like you said earlier, you gotta self-reflect.
Right.
You gotta take a moment in your life and you just gotta look back and say, okay, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? How do I fix the things I'm doing wrong? And that's the big thing that so many people don't do is they just want to go. And I'm very guilty of that. I'll be 100% honest with you. I'm one of those people. You talk to Patrick or Sebastian, they'll be like, Josh is somebody that wants to get it done right now. And it's a good and a bad thing. And I'm one of those people that let's do this, throw off 100 things. Now I said, take your time on one thing, man. Do it perfectly. Yeah. And so yes, it's the thing is so many people don't look back and fix the things that has been an issue in their life. Everybody has underlying issues. Everybody has things going on in their life, but it's how you handle them that sets you apart. You can handle some, losing a loved one. I mean, that's very tragic, very sad. It's very somber, but you can handle that with just being sad for 3 months, or you can handle that with being, taking a time, remembering the good things about that person, and and then just remembering that, hey, that was a pretty great person and carrying on with your life. And it's how you all reflect, man. Right. It's all how you reflect. And there's just things in life that you just gotta learn, man. It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah. I'm a big person that is just, I'm very happy with where I'm at in my life. I'm very proud of where I've gotten to be able to be in my life at 22, but there's still things I can improve on.
100%.
There's still
like we
hundreds.
Were always learning.
Hundreds of things that I can improve on.
And it's been incredible to see you improve on things because, like you said, I remember how you were in Chick-fil-A. I remember who we were, and
we both were, man.
Yeah, exactly. And it's been incredible to see the growth and the change and the strides that you're taking to create these things. Because you've always been something that you were like, I'm I'm going to bag the G3C. I'm going to make it a big boy camber car. And like, you did all those things. Then you're like, I'm going to host events. And now you're doing that. And so I have no doubt that with all your other aspirations that you're reaching towards, like, you're putting in the work and they're going to become reality. And so it just leaves me excited. Like, there's no question. Like, I'm not doubting it. I'm just excited to see it and, you know, be a part of it and you know, support all that. And, you know, I just, I look forward to, like, I just feel grateful for having known, like, for knowing the people that I do, like you, that have that mindset. You know, there's so many people that don't even have the mindset that you and I have. And that we've been sharing.
It's 1 in 100, man.
Yeah. And so it's just so grateful I'm so grateful to have the people that I do around me that, you know, keep me from ever falling into any of those like darker, shittier mindsets. Because a lot of people are surrounded by friends that don't share the mindset that we do. And, you know, so that's a great part of life. That's something that I'm very thankful for, is the people that I've met.
Yeah, me as well, man. You know, seeing the strides, leaps and bounds that you made as well. You know, like we were talking about, you know, the previous life we had, you know, the previous things that we did in our life.
You got to go through it, man. It's a season.
Absolutely.
There's seasons of life.
Oh, exactly.
You know, I think it's
summer's drinking season, man. You know, but
it's spike ball season. I would say, dude. Spike ball is going to be out. We're gonna have to play. I'll have it up with John Venezia.
I love that park. Man.
Yeah, we'll get a bracket going one of these days over the summer for sure. But
man, we'll hit the skate park too.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah. Absolutely, man.
No, that's the thing, man. I'm very grateful for the people in life. You know, I'm glad that we share a very common interest. I think surrounding yourself with people that are very like minded with you is the key to success. Is, you know, the key to striving to be better every single day. You know, once you stop, just like I was saying earlier, is it blows my mind that so many people are content with just living life on autopilot.
Right.
Like there gets to a point in your life where you need to take control.
Right. Where,
you know, I talk with my parents and my dad, you know, I love my parents, love them to death. But my dad's just, oh yeah, go to work, do this, you know, get home, do that. And I'm like, I couldn't, man.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
Like, I know there's so much more out there.
Same deal with my parents. Great people. They've done nothing but support me and my brothers, like extremely loving, extremely supportive, but they just come from a different time. And neither of them have been like entrepreneurial. Like, they just don't have that like in them. You know, my dad is a career Army man, 34 years of service.
Oh,
like,
my gosh.
Climbed the ladders. He was at the top. Like, he's top G, I like to say. He is, but in a much different way than like owning a business and all that. It's a different skill set that you need to climb that ladder and to be successful in those ranks versus, you know, living an entrepreneurial life, a business owner's life. It's a little different. And so we definitely kind of don't see eye to eye often. But I know that his points and his arguments come from a great place, a supportive and loving place. He wants to see me succeed and, you know, knows that, you know, he wants me to do it how I want to do it. He's not like trying to be controlling or anything of my path, but he definitely just has a much different take on how to get there than I do. And so, you know, I just look forward to being able to like a year or two from now and the conversations we'll be able to have for sure in that regard. But
I am too, man. I'm looking forward to it. I tell myself this, if everything goes well this year, I'm buying my whole family Rolexes.
Hey, there it is.
I decided for Christmas, man. I that's, you know, for me, I think giving back is huge. I'm a very generous person with the people around me that I want to give them something. I want to, you know, leave an impression on somebody. A first impression is everything. That's how you know, set yourself up. Yeah. But I always want to, you know, when I meet somebody, shake their hand, give them something, you know, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. And I think for me, that's one of my biggest things is my dad, we don't see eye to eye. You know, I was telling my parents, you know, hey, leaving Lexus, I got to take a chance. I got to take a jump. It's going to be very difficult to do, but you know, I'm going to do it. And they're like, that's so stupid. And I don't know why you do that. You're leaving a great job. But I got to take risk. Like you said, that thought in the back of your head comes in and you're just, I got to do this. I need to do this. You know, it's what's healthy for you. And, you know, I got to take that risk. And what about life insurance? What about this? You know what I'm saying? It's like those are the least of my concerns.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But
seriously, it's bigger than that.
It's bigger than that. You know, most definitely. And so that's kind of, it's funny that you mentioned that because my dad was a colonel in the Marines. Yeah. And so, you know, like he has a very different background as well.
Yeah.
And like your dad's in the military as well. I mean, we're very similar in the military mindset. And, and my dad's, this is how you do it. This is how you set a retirement plan. This is how you do your 401k. This is how you set up everything. And I'm like, Dad, that's great. But my 401k is I can sell my business for, X amount of money. Like that's my retirement plan, and that's kind of, we have entrepreneurs have different envisions of what it is. And let's be honest, the word entrepreneur has been beaten.
It's overplayed.
It's overplayed. It's kind of cringy now.
So I heard that I forget what I was listening to, but they gave out the definition of an entrepreneur, which is truly an individual that's willing to take more financial risk than a traditional work life. It's really all it comes down to. You can be an entrepreneur. You can still work a job technically and be an entrepreneur. It's about your ability to take independent financial risk. That's what an entrepreneur is. So that's not the same as being a businessman. Like running a business is different, and that takes a lot of much different skill sets than just being willing to take financial risk on an idea. But not to cut you off, I just figured out.
No. That's very interesting because it's like I'm glad we agree. It's been beaten like a dead horse,
dude. It is. It's kind of overplayed. I hate to say it. I don't even want to say it these days.
Bro. Yeah, can we agree?
I'm an entrepreneur.
Exactly. I'm an entrepreneur. I own a business. Yeah. It's like okay.
No, cool. Really, I'm just trying to do my own thing.
Yeah. That's honestly, I always just tell people, what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm self-employed.
Yeah.
I don't feel like you have to flex. Oh, I have this business and this business and this business and this business. I think that can kind of get overwhelming too when people try to make.
I do this, but I also do this on Tuesdays, and then usually on my weekends.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like all right, bro.
I took the Ferrari to the golf course.
Yeah, it's like, all right,
bro.
Chill out, man.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I get it. You have money. It's cool.
Yeah.
But no, whenever somebody asks me, hey, I'm self-employed.
Yeah. That's clean, smooth.
It's simple. It's easy. And the best thing about it is it leaves them curious.
Yeah,
I love that because you always leave when you can leave somebody curious, they're gonna want to know more about you. There's a sense of power there. Where now when you say, "Hey, I'm self-employed," you now have their attention. That's my biggest thing. Is I've been reading a lot of like psychology and and all that, which is funny. We always psychology majors, shit like that. We always make fun of them, but there's a lot of power in it, man.
There is. So I mean. What's the book?
48 Laws of Power?
Yeah. It talks a lot about it. It talks a lot about attention. And
I knew exactly you're going to say that.
Yeah. And that's huge as far as, your ability to, or like even simpler explanation, or the 10 tonalities of voice and how you garner people's attention there. Like psychology and the way that you speak captivates people, which is an integral part to you being able to have leverage on a situation to make it something that you want, right? Whether it's a negotiation or, it's your elevator pitch to somebody. Like the psychology of how you present yourself and all those different scenarios is ultimately how you create influence and how you get from being an entrepreneur to being like, I'm self-employed.
Yeah, no, most definitely. I don't know. Like you were saying, that book is, so many people are like, that book is evil. That book is crazy, bro. You got to learn evil in life to fight evil.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's so many people don't get that.
Yeah.
For me, I'm one of those people that, that book, you can manipulate it and you can manipulate people. It's not hard to manipulate people. Well, I mean, that sounds bad, but like, it's not hard to I don't want to say manipulate, but get somebody to do something that you want to have done, but right. You can use it for good or you can use it for evil, man. And that book's crazy. That book is definitely a whirlwind, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great books. I don't know about you, but I'm big into reading.
Yeah. Another great one, just like on the psychology touch, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. A great book that just talks about some of the basic psychology of creating meaningful relationships, like in business and in your personal life, and how to really like make yourself stand out and be somebody that is remembered when you shake someone's hand. A great book, one of my favorites. I think I've read on like psychology and business relate. Like in business relationship. Highly recommend it or listen to it. It's on.
Yeah, no, I'm a big reader. I've been reading a lot of good books. Probably read like 20 books last year.
Nice.
And just you learn a lot, man. I read. Have you read the book Who Moved My Cheese? Who Moved the Cheese?
No.
It's a silly book, man. It moves. the cheese is essentially a goal that you're tracking. And like, it kind of shows you where these mice are going into a maze, and every single day the cheese is in the same spot that it's been. And it's been like that for 30 days. Then one day they get up 31 days and the cheese is gone.
It's moved.
So are you just going to sit there and expect it to come back? Or are you going to go out there on a journey and look for it? You know, that's a very good thing to think about is, you know, like for us, you know, being in an entrepreneurial mindset, we're going to get up there and chase that cheese. We're going to wake up every single morning, and whether it's in the same spot or it's not, we gotta chase it to make ends meet.
That's fun. Yeah.
And that was a fantastic book that I read, because it really, you get to think of what is the cheese and how can you apply that to your life? What are you chasing?
Right.
Like what is it money? Is it influence? Is it, you know, is it social, exactly, freedom? Is it social status? Yeah. Like, what are you chasing? And you can apply that to your life. So no, there's definitely great books out there to be read. You can really apply it into your life. Atomic Habits was a great book. And there's so many more. I'm one of those weirdos. When somebody comes to my house, I gift them a book. I am one of those guys. I'm like, hey, read this. And
I love that though. I love that though. Share knowledge, man. Not
exactly.
gatekeeping. Gatekeeping knowledge is, I mean, it's petty. It's really petty.
I've never been a gatekeeper, and I never will be.
Yeah.
But no, I've always, somebody comes over to my house, hey, read this. And guess what? They never do. But you know what?
But the thought was there, man.
The thought's there, but you know what? If they don't read that, guess what?
It's their loss.
It tells me a lot about the person.
Yeah.
It tells me a lot about their mindset.
Yeah.
If I give them a book and say, hey, read this. This is going to be really beneficial for you. And it just sits on their nightstand and it collects dust. That tells me a lot about you.
Yeah.
I guess that's one of those things where, you know, I know, like my brother, for example, I gave him this book. It's How the Rich Get Richer. Mm-hmm. It's by Robert. What's his last name? You know who I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about. Rich Dad Poor Dad guy.
Yeah.
It was one of his sequels to Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I gave my brother this. I was like, read this. Take time to read this. It's very very influential, very knowledgeable. You get a lot of knowledge from it, and it's just sat on his nightstand. So it tells me a lot about a person.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things.
You had to bust his balls a little bit about that, didn't you?
No.
It's
not my business. You know, it's not my business what he does.
Yeah, that's fair.
But in my back of my mind, it's like,
okay,
somebody doesn't really want to put themselves in that position.
Right.
Challenge himself.
Right.
But you learn a lot.
Yeah.
You learn a lot. You get to pick a lot of people's brain. It's fun.
100%, man.
You kind of learn, how they operate, and it sounds shitty, but once you figure out how somebody operates, you can kind of use it. You
can, yeah.
Not use it in a bad way. In a bad way. I don't want to put it like that in like a negative connotation, like a scummy way. But you can kind of realize, okay, this is the person. This is how this person benefits.
Right.
You know, like from a business standpoint. Okay, this is how this person operates. This is how they're going to be successful in a business. Mm-hmm. That's how. Which is
kind of how you have to look at it that way. Yeah. You have to look at it like the numbers. Not the emotion, but really like the actual facts. Whether it's analyzing a business, analyzing a person, you got to really look at the spreadsheets, if you may. A business can say it's this, but really, like, is it generating profit? Whatever. You can look at the same way with a person. They can say this, but are they really generating that profit in their own life? And I don't think that's fair at all. Or I don't think that's unfair to do. Like, I don't think that's the wrong thing. Everybody does it. Jordan Belfort in his class talking about straight line sales. He talks about everybody's told, don't judge a book by its cover, blah, 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 but everybody does. Your mom does, you do, your grandparents do. Everybody that you meet does, and you're interpreted in the first, quarter of a second. The way you've presented yourself, you automatically, a stranger interprets you in a quarter of a second. They put together, visually, and then as you speak to them, that grows, their interpretation of you grows. But it really is that important to be on your ball and to be on the ball about how you present yourself and who you are, because every new relationship you make, people are paying attention.
Most definitely.
And they are analyzing you, and they're drawing a picture of who you are, and then saying, okay, this is this person, this is how they could benefit, or this is where they'd lack, that quickly. And I try and take that and remind myself of that in the way that I present myself, in the way that I conduct myself when I'm talking to someone. Because I believe that everybody you meet can provide value, can be of value to your life, but just in different ways. Everybody has their own form of being valuable.
Everybody has knowledge that you don't have.
Exactly.
Everybody has something that they're good at that you might not be good at. You know, and that's something that you got to view and you got to take into consideration is that everybody has their own skills, and whether you have a relationship with that person or not, their skills can be beneficial for you. And not that it's just, beneficial for you, but they can also learn something from your, from yourself as well.
Right.
In a relationship, it goes both ways. Both people have to provide value for there to be a long-lasting relationship, in my opinion.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to be friends with somebody that doesn't necessarily bring value, and I'm sure they don't want to be friends with me unless they. Well, that's kind of going back to surrounding yourself with people that are successful or that have like-minded goals. I would say a big reason that we're friends and everybody else is friends is because we all provide value for each other. Right. There's all value there. Right. And it's not that it's just like financial value, but it's knowledge.
Right.
And I think that's very, very important on the friends that you pick.
100%.
Very important on the friends that you pick and you surround yourself with.
That makes me curious. I want to ask you what was it about Patrick that made you guys business partners? How do you feel that you guys complement each other?
Patrick is a go-getter.
Yeah.
Patrick is a fantastic person. Nothing but good things to say about Patrick, genuinely, because he's one of those guys that if I'm pissed off, he knows not to call me. It's weird. He knows me very well. The best way to describe Patrick is he's a hyper chiller. You ever heard that term before?
I haven't, no.
Hyper chiller. So somebody that's a hyper chiller is just somebody that's just mellow consistently. They run a same mood every time you talk to him. He's one of those guys, whether he's in a bad mood, a great mood, it's the exact same guy. It kind of throws you off, but you kind of learn to read it. But what I liked about Patrick is every time I saw him at a car meet before I took him on as a business partner, he would always ask me, "Hey bro, how's Peaked going? Hey bro, how's Peaked going? Can I help you with Peaked? Let me know if you need help with Peaked. How's it going?" So he was always asking. He was always wanting to know, "Hey, how was this going?" And that really intrigued me. This guy seems very interested. And I mean, he'll text me like 2-3 times a day and just saying, "Hey, here's an idea, here's an idea, here's an idea." And I love that.
Yeah.
And whenever I ask Patrick to get something, "Hey bro, do you mind knocking this out?" Done. 2 hours, 3 hours. I mean, he's just a go-getter, man. Somebody who has his head on a swivel, who wants success.
Yeah.
And I really, really see eye to eye on him with that. And we're very different in the way that we present ourselves. I would say, a little bit more outgoing than he is. He's kind of, until you get to know him, he's kind of quiet.
Yeah.
But just a really good guy. And I'm really glad to have him on the team. Sebastian, he's I'd say he's a pretty outspoken individual. He definitely, Sebastian's known. He's a known guy and he's very good at what he does.
Yeah.
And he's one of those people too where, if I ask him to do something, he'll do it. But, Sebastian has a little bit more on his plate than Patrick does. And so Patrick's usually the one that will just instantly get it done.
Yeah.
And so we all have our own talents that we bring to the table. And that's the biggest thing is like going into business. Like, it is so nice having a business partner. I love it. Like, it's like, I couldn't imagine doing Peaked by myself.
Right.
In the sense of like, for me, like, yeah, I can get an event organized. I can get it set up. I can get it pretty well. But then like, I don't do social media posts. Patrick does that. So it's interesting, man. It's awesome having somebody that's very, entrepreneurial mindset as well.
Right. So. They can compliment you. That's awesome. Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah. So I was just kind of curious.
I met him at a car meet, a couple of car meets. And I used to always see Patrick's car on Instagram too and be like, "Oh, he's trying to run more camera than me. Fuck this guy." But
we'll show him next
18, 18, man.
18?
Was
it 18?
It was 18. It's stupid, though.
Yeah, dude, that's ridiculous.
It was stupid, but you live and you learn. But no, Patrick's a great guy, man. I'm very happy with the people that I have around me. Patrick, Sebastian, yourself. I have a very small very small friend group.
Yeah.
I have a very small friend group, and I don't take people on. I don't. Just because I don't, if you don't provide value, and that sounds low. But I don't think it is.
Yeah, you gotta be kind of cutthroat when it comes to that because you're protecting your energy. You know what I mean? To a degree, you're protecting what you're doing.
What's your take? Let me ask you that. Let me switch seats with you.
Yeah.
Let me interview you.
Oh, okay.
What's your take on that?
On what exactly?
Let me say, what would be your take on somebody not wanting to have a relationship with you because they don't feel like you provide value?
My take would, if somebody told me that they didn't see that I fit, let's talk in terms of Peaked, right? If it was you saying, you know, Wyatt, I don't necessarily see you fitting in or adding value in any particular way right now, per se, in Peaked. I mean, I truly don't think I could take offense to that. It might be kind of a bummer, like, if I were wanting to come on to Peaked, right? But I personally understand and respect that there's elements to a business, there's elements to someone's life where, you know, you can't be friends with everybody. Like, you just can't. You can't truly be friends. Those are very shallow relationships if you're friends with everybody.
True.
You know, you can really only have valuable relationships with a handful of people, arguably 5 people.
I was about to say that. Is that your number 5?
Yeah, I think 5 is a pretty solid number, and I think you find 5 people that have complementary, you know, I'm going to say complementary skills to yours. Like, I'm not saying they all have to be, clearly, like, I'm not a car event hoster. So I'm not saying, like, you're only friends with car event hosters or whatever.
No, for sure.
But, you know, I think you have to be selective with who you surround yourself with, especially mentally. Like, somebody that's bitter, that's always complaining, that's always, like, that is a value negative. But if somebody's a value add in the sense that they're positive, they have a good head, like, they're got a good head on their shoulders, they're motivated themselves, they motivate you, like, those are the people you need around you. And if somebody doesn't add value in that way, whether they don't believe in what you believe in, you know, you're not one to host a podcast, but you believe in my idea of hosting a podcast enough to be here. Yeah. And thank you for that. So it's also people that can kind of share those mental aspects that I think make somebody worth creating a friendship with, that's actually worth your time, because friendships take time.
They're not overnight.
They're not overnight. So then to try and say, like, oh, I'll just take on anybody, it's like, well, you can't disperse your time really like that. So that's literally not realistic.
Do you think it's shallow then, being like, hey, I don't want to be friends with that individual, or I don't want to have a relationship with that individual because they don't provide value? Because I genuinely don't.
No,
I don't think that's shallow.
I kind of went around. I know I kind of went off, like, on a tangent there. To answer that question specifically, no, I do not. Because, again, you have to be selective, and you have to protect your energy and your goals. Mm-hmm. And if somebody isn't adding value to your goals, then I think creating that doesn't mean you have to be rude. I don't think just because somebody isn't adding value to your life or your business doesn't mean you have to be, like, rude or have animosity towards them. It just means you have to respect that relationship of who you are, where you're going, what you want to do, and who they are and what they're doing and how they see the world. And you can learn a lot from people, and you can be cordial with a lot of different people despite having different, you know, ideologies and motivators. But as far as the people that you really share your energy with and create real relationships with, it's not unfair to say that. It's not unfair to not go and take that extra step and really build a relationship with somebody if you don't see that adding value to your life.
No, for sure. No.
Yeah.
No, most definitely.
Yeah.
That's something big that I see as well, is that, like, I don't think it's rude or disrespectful to be like, hey, you know, like, you got to think of things as, like, if I'm a business partner with you and I have a meeting with you and I say, Wyatt, you're not doing your fair share. You're not doing what the business needs. You're not getting done what the business needs. You can't take that personally.
No, it's because it's from a business standpoint. What's the output? What's your input? What's your output?
Yeah, it's from a business standpoint. It's not a friendship standpoint.
Yeah.
But the same goes, you know, somebody's like, you know, hey, dude, what's up, man? Like, you know, like, that sounds kind of rude, but, you know, when I'm at these events, or I'm at, you know, other places like that, and people walk up to me and they, yo, dude, what's up, man? I haven't seen you in a while, bro. You know, we should get drinks sometime. I have no interest.
Right. It's like, why?
That sounds bad, but, like, I like, yeah, bro, we gotta do that. You know,
yeah,
you know, kind of be like, you know,
yeah.
like, just, you'd be a little short, but there's no value provided there.
No.
Why should I take my time out of my day to have a couple of drinks with this person if all they're going to do is, oh man, my job fucking sucks, bro. This is what I'm doing. Like,
exactly.
It's not a best utilization of my time.
Yeah, you got to be productive with the relationships you build.
Yeah, most definitely.
You know, and if the relationships you have aren't helping build where you want to go, or aren't helping, you know, if they're not making a positive impact on your life and your life's goals, then they're not worth having, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I was somebody in high school that was, you know, tried to be friends with everybody. You know what I mean? Like,
try to be the popular kid. Yeah.
Not necessarily try to be the popular kid, but I just wasn't opposed to sitting down and talking to, like, some theater kid, but then also, you know, going shooting the shit with the guys in football, or, like, blah, 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 like, different crowds. Like, you know, I'm just open to talking to different people. And however, the people that I'm friends with, like, were a select few people that really knew what the hell was going on in my life and what my aspirations were. granted, I said what's up to a lot of people. And I've kind of cut back on that even. Where, like, you know, I don't say what's up to a lot of people. I don't talk to a lot of people.
I don't either.
You know what I mean? It's, and outside of, like, Elijah and Ben, I have a handful of friends that I talk to. Yeah. But even then, it's, you know, it's pretty, it's just like, you know, how you doing? How's life? Blah, blah, cool. If I see you in the gym, like, I'll sit there and chat with you or whatever. But if I don't really see myself moving forward from, like, right now, I'm, you know, like, I'm a broke 20-year-old that's, like, trying to make my dreams happen, right? And that's not where I'm going to be forever. If I don't see you as somebody that's also trying to progress past that point of life at the same way I am, then I don't want this fake relationship when I am successful and I'm going to do things.
Like, you know what? That's awesome that you say that, because my brother said the same thing. My brother was like, you know, my brother's about to be 26. Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. Yeah. He's about to be 26. But he's like, you know, I saw somebody at the gym the other day, and I used to go to high school with, and the guy was like, hey man, we got to get drinks sometime. We got to hang out. And my brother's like, why would I do that?
Right.
Why, like I don't, there's no benefit there.
Right.
This is somebody that I knew 7 years ago. And now they wants to be, hey, let's go hang out. Let's go talk, man. Let's go talk about the old days. Let's go talk about high school, man.
Like, right. It's like, come on,
I'm not,
man.
Like, learn from the past.
Right.
Learn from the past. Implement what you learned into your current life. Don't be like, oh, man, dude, you remember back in Chick-fil-A? Why? Oh, man, we could sit here the whole podcast and talk about Chick-fil-A stories.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
But, like, what good does that do?
Little to none. Little to none.
None.
Yeah.
None. And I think I'm glad that the podcast has gone full circle now, where you know, we're talking about something completely different than we originally came on to, but that's the whole point. That's what I love. That's what I love about conversation.
Right. And that's
I love conversation.
Yes.
But there's just, the past is the past, bro.
Yeah.
You got to learn from it.
Yeah. You can't hold on to it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that goes for relationships too. Like, again, relationships that worked in high school aren't going to work now when I'm trying to do other things. Like, I was a different person back then than I am now. You know, and if you're able to find somebody in high school that has the same mindset as you and is wanting to grow on the same trajectory as you, one, that's super rare, and two, I think that's lucky, and you should hold on to that.
However, Sebastian for you,
Sebastian, or like Ben. I've known Ben since high school, but we're working together now. We have ideas together, and we're trying to make money together. We both want to, you know, we both have the same goals of driving cool cars and shit like that. Like, I'm like, dude, I see it. Yeah. Where I want to go, you also want to go, so it makes sense. But not everybody you were friends with at one point in time when I was, you know, taking dabs at lunch in the car. The buddies I was doing that with are not the same buddies that I want to, you know, go travel the world with. And that's not necessarily a disrespect to them. That's just looking at it realistically. That's not disrespectful at all. No, I think everybody, one way or another, does, you know, thinks that way. I think some other people just try and, like, mask it with this fake, like, yeah, we're friends. But it's like, no, we're not. I don't know shit that's going on in your life right now.
Yeah, nor do what you're doing. Do I care? You know,
right.
That sounds mean, but
it's just not what I want to do. So it's
most definitely, bro. I tried to play video games the other day. I bought an Xbox, so I don't have any video game consoles. I don't have any of that stuff because I moved all those things in my life just because I want to focus on other things. There's bigger and better things I need to focus on. So I bought an Xbox on Sunday, and I get the Xbox and I start playing it on Monday. I play for 45 minutes. I put that shit back in the box and I return it the next day. I was like, bro,
this is stupid.
Yeah, I was like, dude, this is like, not only is this stupid, but you can't rekindle the past, man.
No, you can't.
Like what I remember back when I was 16, 17 years old is playing Call of Duty, playing Destiny, playing Minecraft, playing all these games and like having the best time. But like now I look back at it, I'm like, oh my gosh, what a waste of time.
Yes.
What a massive waste of time. It's just like going back to like hanging out with a buddy in high school. Like, yeah, I have a couple friends that I still talk to that I'm friends with high school, but do they give me any value?
Right. Right.
No, there's somebody that I call, hey bro, you want to get hammered?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't really do that anymore. So there's no relationship to have there. And so,
dude, it's funny with video games. Like I was somebody that grew up gaming a bunch, and you know, like one of my best friends in life, like almost like a brother. He lives in North Carolina. Actually, he lives in Texas now. He's in the military, but his name's Draven. He's literally like all throughout high school we gamed together. Like that's a lot of hours. Like we put in a lot of hours gaming.
Oh yeah.
And it was like when I was moving, like we met in North Carolina, we were gaming. I moved here and we'd game like almost every night. So it was like I never moved, you know, which is why our relationship is so strong. It's because like all my other relationships had these like time blocks where we didn't really talk that much. Yeah, him and I stayed talking because of games. And so at this point in my life, it's like I don't hardly ever game unless it's to go game with him, which is really just us like, you know, chatting, shooting the shit. And there's a game there to like kind of mold the conversation, right? But yeah, aside from that, man, like I don't care to grind Call of Duty. Like I got Modern Warfare 2, man. Bro, I was a Call of Duty streamer at one point in time, and now I'm just like, I don't want to do that.
I don't shitted on you on 1v1.
We're going to run it back. We got to run it back. That's not how that went. I think you squeezed out by 1 kill on that game, man. That was garbage. That was good times, man.
That was a good time.
I was wondering if you remember that on Black Ops 4. That's funny. Yeah.
Bro, I hate to bring up the past and shit like that, but dude, I sweated on Black Ops 4.
So did I. I tried to stream it. I was wanting to be a streamer at that point in time.
I insane 4.2 KD Master Prestige. Yeah. I was like god tier at that game. But like going back is like, what does that do? Like what? Hey, bro, my name's Josh Klein. I just want to introduce myself. I have a 4.2 or 4.2 KD on Call of Duty.
No, GPA? Okay. No, KD.
Like, bro, if somebody told me that, I'd be like, I don't want to talk to you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, cool.
You did not just flex your dark matter camo on me, bro.
Oh, bro, I have hilarious stories about the dark matter,
dude. That's
but
great.
It's just. Yeah, you kind of realize you grow up and you realize, you know, this doesn't have any impact on my life.
Yeah.
Like, I think of, like, making money and business as a video game. Like, I legitimately think of that. Like, okay, I'm going to grind for 5 hours and then I'll unlock this chapter of life. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
like, that's kind of how you view it. Like, cool, I can spend 2,000 hours playing on a video game, or I can spend 2,000 hours working on a business that's going to unlock me this financial freedom and to do with my life. Is people
I definitely have
that, man.
Yeah, I've definitely played enough video games where that's almost like a core part of how I view life too. It's like as a video game, you know what I mean? That XP grind or whatever it is, that grind for that item. Bro. It's like, you know, you got to put those hours.
You got to go mining for those diamonds, bro.
Yeah, exactly. We yearn for the shafts.
exactly, man. Is this, you know, you kind of view things as that. And
no, it's great.
Would you rather grind that in real life, or would you rather grind that, you know, on a video game? But no, man, that, you know, it's great. It's great seeing those. It's great seeing people successful around me, and it's great seeing, you know, everybody achieving their own goals and setting their own goals. But there's so many people in my life that I look at and I'm just like, wow, I would never have a relationship with them because they don't have any goals. They're not a goal-driven individual. They have nothing in their life that they're trying to accomplish or succeed. They're just trying to live life on autopilot. And I don't want to be friends with somebody that does that because our vision doesn't see eye to eye.
Right.
Like with what you're doing, you told me the other day, when you know, the funny things that we got this all set up, you know, and I saw you come and go, which I always fucking see you there.
I know, right? That's the one spot that we randomly run into each other is that fucking come and go, man. I always
see you there, bro. It's the weirdest shit, man. But, yeah, I saw you there the other day, and you know, you're like, yeah, I'm leaving my job. I was like, yeah, I'm leaving my job too. And it's just like, wow, you know, we see eye to eye in that same vision.
Yeah.
And that's why, you know, I want to, you know, have a relationship with you, you know, because it's like, cool, you're out there achieving what you dream of.
Yeah.
And I want to be friends with people that see things and want to achieve it and chase it.
Right.
So no, it's good, man. It's good to see you, you know, be successful and, you know, get to where you want to be in your life and grind. I mean, I think that you do have to put the time and hours and energy into to be able to get to where you want in life. So, I mean, you know, kudos to you, man. You know, you're really taking that step, and you're really taking that next step to become successful and granting yourself the time, the freedom to do whatever you want. And that's a big thing, man, is just doing it, man. Just taking that.
It's exciting, man. It's exciting.
The biggest risk is just taking that step to do it. After that, man, just keep grinding, just keep moving.
Yep, 100%, man. Yeah, and thank you. Likewise goes to you. You know, I've said it before, but I've loved seeing what you've done so far with Peaked, and you know, I look forward to us continuing to grow on our ideas together over the future and where things go and the content that we can create in the future together.
Absolutely.
There's no doubt that we'll be able to, and I know we could both cook up some cool stuff in the future together.
We got some cool stuff. Yeah, we should definitely link up as well with some content. Got some great ideas I want to, you know.
Yeah, me too.
Do, and you know, we got a large network of people we can tap into to be able to, you know, achieve this. So let's do it, man.
Let's do it, man.
Yeah, most definitely.
We're hitting that like damn, it's been 2 hours and 11 minutes. It flies, man. It flies, doesn't it, when you get flown? That's why I love long form. Like, one thing I'll end off on is a lot of people think what I'm doing here is starting a podcast, but it's more so a media channel, and like podcast is one form of content, right? One long form conversation is unique, and I think brings out a different, side to a person than just doing like a 60-minute interview that's like 5 minutes long or whatever. But
damn, it has been 2 hours.
Yeah, right. But this is one level of it, and but there's so many other ideas that I want to take this channel to, as far as like doing edits and montages, stuff
YouTube
like that.
Shorts, man.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna chop all this up into cool clips and stuff like that.
You know what would be a really good idea for you is start getting a group of people. So like for example, Sebastian, myself, and a couple other people that you interview and stuff, and do a year follow up.
Yeah, exactly. Stuff like that.
That's cool. And like for example, we could end off in a thing of like, here's my year goals. Let's check back in a year. Let's see if they're.
Do you have any? Do you have any that you can let us off?
Yeah. I want to grow peak.co Instagram to 20,000 followers in a year. I think it's very feasible. I think it's easily done. I think it'll be actually done by the end of this year. I want to get there. I'm going to buy all the followers. No, I'm just kidding.
I was like, bro, you got that tomorrow if you wanted to.
No. I'm one of those guys. Dude, don't fake it.
Yeah.
Don't fake it.
No, absolutely not.
But I definitely want to grow to 20,000 followers. I want to start doing out-of-state events. So I really want to start doing out-of-state events. New Mexico, Texas are two of the big ones. So we'll follow up in a year, and we'll get to that point. And then I want to get Cloud9 very successful. I want to start making a consistent stream of revenue from Cloud9 and growing that. And I also have a couple of other businesses that I want to start. So that's kind of where I see myself in a year. And we'll follow back up, man. Because like I said, I want to support your vision. I want to support your goals. You're one of those people that definitely is very inspiring to see what you're being able to do and accomplish. So kudos to you, man. I keep saying that, but really kudos to you.
Thank you.
Of course. And we'll follow back up in a year, man, and see what are some things for you, man, in a year that you want to be. Let's switch the roles.
In a year, well, I have the podcast. I have this channel. So my idea there is to have multiple avenues of media content being consistently produced. So that goes aside from podcasts, but you'll start to see more shorter YouTube videos and like condensed content ideas that I have planned that I want to have like fully flushed and consistently being published. Yeah. So you'll see that it's more of a general network of content rather than just like this long form conversation that I'm doing now. I'd like to say I have the goal of around like 25,000 followers next year on Instagram. I want to have over 10K subs on YouTube. It's a little harder to like transfer those followers, but I think that's super realistic. So I'll have that. And on the side, I haven't talked about it too much, but I'm co-owners of WeldForce, a custom fabrication company with my buddy Ben. He was the main welder there. And so our goal there is to be in profit of, over $10,000 a month by next year, which is super doable with what we have planned. So that's what we're shooting for, and that's what I planned. And yeah. So I'm sure some other things will come to fruition that I can't even imagine right now, because that's how things play out, man. It's the beauty of it. Ideas can grow beyond what you initially imagine them as. And so I'm excited for that as well. But those are like what I know I can create and that I have planned.
Most definitely, man. No, that's awesome. I appreciate the opportunity to come on and kind of discuss some stuff, and hopefully I riled up enough feathers, bro.
Yeah.
With some of the stuff. That's a good thing, man, to create controversy,
Yes,
kind of brings you some clout. Good clout, bad clout, still clout.
It's conversation. It creates conversation in the comments.
Absolutely, man. And another thing as well is that it's gets people thinking.
Yeah.
It's the biggest thing, is definitely want to have people thinking. But no, I appreciate the opportunity. We'll rekindle in a year on the podcast. I'm sure I'll see you, at all the events, and also vice versa. I'm sure I'll run into you, come and go more and more.
It'll be refueling.
Exactly. But no, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, man.
I look forward to seeing what you have to do, and if you need any help or anything like that in your projects, let me know.
Thank you, dude. Likewise. And thanks for coming again.
Absolutely,
I appreciate it, man.
Bro. Absolutely, for sure. All right.